How's it going, guys? Give me 2 seconds, just the usual here. Right. I'll stick this phone on just in case. So, where are we? What's been happening? Let's have a wee look. Who's here? Marie, Colsey Cats, Sheeps and Neeps, Ricky C, Jonah Worms, how you doing? Chris Flat Earth Jackson, Cat's Eyes, Weed 67, James Doherty, Opened My Eyes. Yep, West Coast Wisdom, how you doing, John? Oh, Billy Sunday, Sandman, Jessica Ferreira, Rick 8, Anthony Roberts, how you doing, bud? Cat's Eyes, Pandemonium. Well, hello everybody and whoever else is there watching. I don't know if we're going to have anybody on here tonight again. If you want to come in and have something to say, it's nocurve@gmx.com and the phone number will be there in the chat shortly, I would imagine. I really need to write this down. Good to hear, John. Hope you're feeling better. Cheers, Marshall. The number is 07393654544. So before we start or get anywhere, the usual. Flat Earth and what it means here. I've just noticed that I've missed out a U in the curve, but the people beyond the imaginary Crve the night. Flat Earth is simply a group of people, for me here on this platform anyway, is people who realise that the globe is utter nonsense. It is totally ridiculous. It was a cult, a religious cult that we were born into, created by the very same people who brought about, or were involved in the other religions that existed at that time. It's an ongoing investigation. We know that it's level. We know that it's level because it's abundant in water. We understand fluid mechanics. We understand how water works. It is the most accurate measuring tool we have in order to establish the possible dimensions of the Earth we're living upon. I know that it is difficult for many people out there because you have been born into it the same as the rest of us, and the images and the videos, the cartoons that you see on the TV are very convincing. You just need to put a wee bit of critical thought to it and have a look at it, and then if you're ready, join the rest of us who have broken the chains of religious control. I consider myself, an ex-cult member, an ex-globe cult member, and regardless of what the full dimensions of the Earth is, it is an objective question. There has to be a separation between subjective and objective. There has to be an understanding on what actual science is in regards to this question. We require natural science, which means all claims must be provable, observable, testable, repeatable. Right? If you're making claims about reality, you can recreate it. Okay. So if anybody's in doubt, I suggest you go and try and create a globe using the elements and see what you can come up with. You're going to fail miserably. So we know that it is a level plane. What the full dimensions are unknown to any of us here. There is ridiculous nonsense being put out there. Straw men like circular pizza discs and square pizza boxes, whatever you like. And there is many people who are, pushing towards whatever model they think would be true. For me, and I know some people think that it is delusional to aim for full disclosure, full exploration, but really it's the only place you can end up at if you're really looking for truth, right? Otherwise, we're going to continue to run around in circles, chasing our tails, throwing ideas at each other and having debates, right? Because that's what a debate's for, ideas. Objective reality, it's not about debating. There is no two sides to it. So anybody out there who thinks they're on a globe, concave, flat, and you think you're on a side, I suggest you cut that out. It's much more productive if people realise that it has to be objectively looked at regardless of what it is. I don't care. I don't have any wish or preference for the Earth to be a fucking square, a triangle, a circle, a ball. I don't care. But for anybody new listen, there's much nonsense out there. Right? Maps, models, crazy ideas. It's crap. If you've arrived here, you've arrived at real truth, which is we do not know where we are. It's an ongoing investigation. For me, it's always been the case. My chances are increased the more people who are aware of it and who are sitting in this position right now. Right? That increases my chances of knowing exactly where I am because I'm determined to know, and so should you be. Without the foundation, without knowing exactly where you are, your life is a delusion. All these religions, all these ideologies, the cultural practices, they're rooted in nothing. They are rooted in bewilderment, grasping at straws, not knowing who you are, why you're here, or where you are. Right? So, and anybody on the internet or in books that's trying to tell you otherwise is full of shit. You need to remember that it's just ideas. The majority of the people out there don't know who they are or where they are, okay? I mean in regards to as a species. I don't mean knowing yourself internally before anybody fucking jumps on it. You can know who you are internally, right? But who we are as a whole, nobody knows. So it's all fucking guessing game, hypothetical stories, nonsense. Just like the mainstream, Big Bang crap, wee space balls that came together by a magical force, magically producing life and everything else you see today, right? It's utter fucking crap. You will hear me swear. If you're offended, I do not apologise. You can go and watch something else, right? A Saturday night here is an opportunity for, for me, I set it up for new people to come on, let us know they're there. If you've got anything to add, any topic you want to discuss, by all means, let's have it. If you're making claims to anything being objectively true, I'm going to push you for proof. As long as you clearly state that it's just a theory, a philosophy, whatever it is, then we can have discussions, right? And for me, the only reason I want discussions now is because of the boredom of waiting to find out where the fuck I am, waiting for everybody to arrive at that place of urgency, right? Because time is of the essence. You're not going to live forever, right? It's not a fucking game. This is not a new fucking pop culture trend, right? It's reality. You have been born into a culture. You have been born into deceit and lies. The majority of the people involved in your culture, your family, your school, your close relations, they're not actively lying. Nobody claims they are actively lying. And another straw man nonsense idiocy that here being put out there is everybody would have to be in it. They don't. They believed it just like me and many other people. And they still do believe it, right? So enough of the formalities. Marshall, are you here? Yeah.
Oh, I'm here, mate. I'm just chuckling to myself about Nisper's back. Where were you last week, Nisper? I was waiting for you, and you didn't turn up. Your video proof, mate. I think you need to go back and have another look at it before you embarrass yourself in public. So that's my recommendation to you.
What was a video proof, mate? If you just give a wee quick run by.
The video shows a peninsula with a false horizon in the foreground, which I'm attributing to swell, and there is evidence to confirm that. So,
well, just to add in here again for anybody new who's involved or whatever, we have to agree on the first principles. We have to agree on what we're talking about. So, for me, it's natural science. It's objective truth, measurable, testable, repeatable. All claims should fall into that category. We have people like Nisper and many other trolls involved in this whole thing who are, either seriously stupid or they work for an agenda. Here, I established and discovered that the most accurate tool that I could identify in order to establish the possible dimensions of the Earth was water. There is no other man-made instrument or tool that anybody has that is more accurate. Many people have stories regarding the sky, which is a red herring, as part of the sophism. And sophism are arguments, clever arguments that are, designed to deliberately mislead. And a red herring is pointing at something that is totally irrelevant to what you're actually trying to answer. So people who look at the sky, there's circles in the sky does this, the sky does that. Nobody lives in the sky. We live here on Earth. We're trying to establish the shape of the Earth we stand upon. Characters like Nisper continually come forward with video, images, insisting and cherry picking. Images and video are inconclusive. They cannot be depended upon. We need instrumentation. We need actual substance of measurement. So for me, liquid, water, the abundance on Earth is the most accurate substance measuring tool. Right? It tells us beyond any shadow of a doubt. We do not live on the exterior of any shape. We live in a container. Whatever the full shape, the dimensions of that container are, again, nobody knows, but I know. So people like Nisper and anybody else out there who thinks videos and images somehow prove something are seriously misguided or seriously delusional. Right? We need actual substance of measurement. And again, the most accurate tool is the water. Anybody who thinks they have a more accurate tool, please bring it forward. You will have none. Right? So Nisper thinks he's here to enlighten people and make people learn. Nisper, you need to learn, son, and so do the rest of the people who still think they live on a nature-defying sphere pair. Right? You've been duped by a culture of images and video. Your TV is no objective science. Okay? It can be manipulated and used. It can be manipulated and used to empower you, or it can be manipulated and used to disempower you. The latter is true in this case. Right? I know, water everywhere. And people go, oh, I always use it, Jeremy. It just goes on about the water. It just goes on about the water. Well, it is a substance. It is an accurate measuring tool. These people who are reality deniers, that have a religious belief that want to defend it, want to ignore it and ridicule it. Right? That's why they spend the majority of their time trying to ridicule and attack the persons. And we still see many of them doing it. Right? I don't partake in that here because it's totally irrelevant. But I'm going to start another channel, a ribbon channel, and I hope that everybody who's subscribed here supports it. And I will be spending portions of my time ripping the pish and showing the idiocy and illogical nonsense that comes out of many of these characters. Right? So when I set it up, I'll let you know, and I hope you support it so that we have a place where we can rip the pish back and we can analyse them and show their videos and highlight their nonsense so that things become crystal clear as to where the games are being played, where the propaganda is, where the psyop part of this is, right? And really sharpen the tools in order to identify them, right? And we'll pressure them. And at the same time, we'll have a laugh at ripping the pish at them. So people like Nisper are welcome here, but they must understand that we're talking about natural objective truth, right? Natural science. Bendy, rotund, convex, bodies of water conforming to shapes is no physics, it's no science, it's pseudoscience. It is claims that are no reproducible. They cannot recreate them. They cannot recreate them to accurately represent the claims that they're trying to make, right? They don't produce potato rocks with earth and sand and air and water in their vacuum. They cherry pick, they use sophism. Oh, look at how my blob of water behaves in this contrived condition. It's not really natural. And I don't know if I finished, but in regards to the sky and these things, you do not get anything measurable for the shape of the earth you're upon by that, right? And again, it's part of the sophism. The same as if you're new, you will be hearing this bollocks about curvature straight out in front of you. Remember the claim that it is a sphere and that it is curving equally in every direction, away from you, the observer. So if you're seeing ships going over a curve at 12 miles and there's 30 feet of that ship missing, then at the same distance from left to right, there should be the same amount of curvature. End of fucking story. Regardless of the pipe. There's no excuses, right? Again, I don't need to keep going there. I know that it's not a ball, and I just hope that many other people start to get there sooner rather than later. The other point I want to make, I seen an article today in regards to graffiti being done about flat earth, and I did hear my concerns about this. If you're putting graffiti on things that the coppers are going to start looking at it and going, oh, it's graffiti, we need to start doing something about this. For me, I would suggest that you don't use graffiti, you use your posters, your billboards, whatever it is, right? The least amount of attention in that that respect you get, the better. So, right. So again, Saturday night is for the people, and I hope you use it because it's no fucking Saturday Night Live, Del Boy playing Parkinson. I'm not having it. So unless anybody else wants to start entertaining, they can take up the role of this, moderating, still sit in the backdrop, but somebody else can have a go if they like. So Weather Mafia, we need an interpreter up in here. Clean your fucking ears out, right? Will I get Sean out? Marshall, have we got any requests?
No mail yet, dude. But I don't expect any. People normally like to feel that you've relaxed into the evening, which is about half an hour, 3/4 an hour in before anybody feels the imperative to join in.
Well, that is awful nice.
Sorry?
That is awful nice and very considerate of them.
I'm glad you pointed out the thing about graffiti, dude. Responsible graffiti, people, not vandalism, I think is the difference, isn't it? I don't know how you qualify that. I think you're going to make that decision for yourself somehow, but certainly not scrawling abstractly on walls. I don't think there's plenty of people out there that have printed business cards that they are, they're leaving those in public places, and that's getting received very well.
Yeah, it's all getting there regardless. It's got its own legs now anyway. I just wanted to highlight this and this character again here. I truly believe people like Dell, Jeranism, Eric Dubai are all in it for money. Well, I'm just going to stop you there. Stop, running around mentioning every character along with every other character. People are individuals, right? This trying to clump everybody together under one umbrella. You can fuck right off in this for more illogical fucking nonsense on your part, sonny boy, right? And we're all in it for money. I have not earned a fucking penny. I have spent out my own pocket over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. Okay? There's nothing different in my life. Haven't benefited out of this in any way whatsoever. So you're talking utter shite, wee man. Suggest that you fucking go and study a wee bit, research a wee bit before bumping your gums. Very compelling conspiracy that sells really well. No, it's not a conspiracy. It's factual, right? It's science. I know that religious goons like yourself do not like real science. You want to cherry pick. You think pseudoscience is actual science. It's not. Right? Go and recreate the claims that the globe makes. See what you find. You're not going to get very far, sir. Paul and Gail, have you any interest in DMT, Dale? No, I've done my stints of these types of things. And I've aired my points about this before. Nobody under the influence of any of these so-called spiritual fucking drugs has ever had anything profound to say. I've never had anybody coming back from a DMT or ayahuasca trip going, by the way, see all that religion and ideology and all the practices that you've got in your society and the way you're living your life and where you think you live, it's all bollocks. I've never ever experienced that from any of them. So, I don't know what the point of it is anymore. Don't get me wrong, it served its purpose for me and it helped me to get through some internal stuff, which was fantastic. But in regards to anything objectively true, I'm not going to get anywhere. I would only be doing it just for the hell of taking it. It'd be like, going for a shot in the fairground. Wendy Blank, thank you for mentioning this. Dale, beyond the magic curve, I was contacted about this privately and asked to talk about it, and I was accused to starting drama and stirring the pot when I brought. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Wendy. Again, I just want to mention that nobody here, this is not about religion, this is not about ideology, this is just purely about the space that we all share and about identifying the language and the tools that we use in order to establish that. Right? It's imperative because we have to understand that, we have to come to the same understanding so that nobody can lie anymore and that we're in agreement about what we're actually fucking talking about. Right? So remember, the people who are out there, putting it as like some kind of dichotomy, like this camp against that camp, they're players. The majority will be confused people. There'll be players there who are putting that about deliberately. Look out for them. Right? There only is one objective truth. No two. It doesn't change depending on whose side's winning or who won this battle or that battle. It doesn't change. Right? The truth spy, wake up the military and police and the shit can be dealt with directly. Well, this is the hope, man. And that is actually on my radar. I was trying to see if I can get a couple of wee interviews with some coppers in the street. See how that goes down. See if they're willing to have a chat. Cheers, John. Again, the number if you want to phone or text is 0739 365 4544. And the phone should be charged enough that I can switch it on now. So, what am I, Billy and mates? Am I that fucking scary? You can still come in and talk shit. It's just that, you're going to be, pushed on your shit. Don't be scared.
There's a question from Linny in the chat. Are you going to this conference with Nesbitt and Sargent? If you do, please film it.
What's this, the one next April?
I'm not sure. Nesbitt, is a name I don't recognise. Obviously, Sargent.
The one next April, no, I'm not taking part, but whether or not I show up's another matter. The truth spy removed the middleman and the Jew can be dealt with. Well, again, the truth spy, there's a lot more than just the Jew. It's a certain mindset. I don't know why people haven't figured this out yet. Right? There's a certain mindset that is there in all walks of life. White, black, Jew, Muslim, fucking Chinese, Japanese. I mean, Tony Rafferty, you scare nobody, Dale. Oh no, my bubble's burst. Please be scared of me. It's all go. Right, we get messages. Hi there, Marshall. Having probs getting live feed and sound again. Fuckers, keep up the great work. Stephen Bell, Glasgow, West End. Cheers, Stephen, for letting us know. We're aware of that. I don't know if anybody else will be suffering.
There's people in the chat suggesting the same thing. They're getting no video feed. Well, I've been victim to that as well this week, so remains a mystery at the moment.
My physics teacher told me the Earth wasn't a globe back in 1976. Derek White, smart physics teacher. Wish I had one of them. Hi, Dale. Regarding chemtrails, no one seems to recognise that it could be to do with the spectrums of light and specifically their frequencies, as in the blue-violet light is electromagnetic, alkaline and life-giving, whereas the yellow frequency is more acidic and deadly. If they are diffusing the light with the use of chemtrails, it will only have a detrimental effect. Cheers, Andy. Again, Andy, it's another one of these phenomena that I obviously accept is going on, and what is actually going on is again unanswered for me. But if you've got ideas and you've got a way of testing that your idea and having a look at it, then by all means, it could be anything. But again, there is something, there is a phenomena there to be looked at. What they're up to is anybody's guess right now. I think these are from the last time. Direct experience is the only way to go. Anything beyond, I've read that. I think it has always bothered me since 6 years old. Who am I and why am I here? We end up going round the houses for decades. Then it starts to become clearer the older you get and you see the deception. Well, that's it. I think I have read this one out, actually. But again, just to highlight the point, of course, we're all in the middle. The analogy again, if there's an enclosed area, no, even an enclosed area. The enclosed area for me could just be in our minds. We could probably be free to fucking go if we actually went and looked. But to be born in that enclosed area or perceived enclosed area and look at literature and, culture and ideology, religions, spirituality, all these things that people have put out there through the ages. And for me, none of them ever sat right. They were just substitutes. And that's exactly what they are. They are all fabricated substitutes for knowing, right? And for me, it's a time of knowing. I don't think we need to be in bewilderment, confused about who we are, where we are, why we're here. Oh, we might never know. It's just out with our grass. Humans are not supposed to know all these fucking idiotic, disempowering mantras that are pumped out there continually, right? Even by so-called spiritual, truthy people, right? They shouldn't be saying shit like that, right? You have these cognitive abilities, you have common sense, you have eyes, you have ears, you have senses, you have touch, you have taste, you have smell, you have a finely tuned balance, right? You have a logical, rational, reasoning mind, right? An ability to assess the world you're living in, an ability to assess who you are internally, who you are from each moment in time. So why would you have all these fucking things? Oh, no, but it's just, you're just never going to know. It's just out with your grasp, right? You're supposed to know. For me, we are supposed to know, right? And the deliberate creation of these disempowering ideas of Big Bang, abiogenesis, random life from nothing, consciousness is an illusion, you're on a pale rock that, came from a nothingness that's ever expanding into nothingness, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, right? All that to stifle you. And then at the same time, nowadays it's even more twisted. They're actually getting you to embrace the bewilderment. Oh, look at how insignificant we are, isn't it fucking wonderful? Oh, embrace it. You're just dust, you're nothing. Ooh, what is that doing to people psychologically, for fuck's sake? Right? It's part of the mind control. It's part of their games, their methods. All right, Joan, how you doing, Joan? So, again, if you want to come in and discuss any topic, then let us know. If no, I'm going to waffle for however long until I'm fed up listening to myself, and then I'll be off. And I'll probably not keep the live Saturday thing going unless there's something specific to talk about. Right, I'm going to read through the comments right now. Anders Ace, how are you? Flat Trotter SS. Stephen Owens, science is full of theories only to be retracted, modified and replaced or disproven. Science is the worst religion of all. Well, the science that we know it right now is the worst religion of all. But, again, I keep reiterating that to people, natural science, the separation of the sciences, because they've been jumbled up. They have made people idolise mathematicians, right? And because mathematicians peer review each other's jargon and their mathematics works out on paper, they laud it as if it's some sort of factual truth. When mathematics is classed as a formal science because it is a language, it does not depend on empirical observation, right? So you separate that, you realise when they're using it, and you always go back to the natural science. And natural science doesn't mean you need a fucking PhD. You might need a PhD in a certain avenue, a specific avenue of expertise, right? But when it comes to natural science, it's very simple. Somebody makes a claim to you, you ask them to fucking show it, accurate to their claim, and then you discern, you question it, you look for flaws in it, and you move on, right? So it's our tool. It has been deliberately hijacked, in my opinion, because if I trace, the history they've gave us, and I can play with the idea that people were getting smarter to the religious bollocks that was being pushed to them, right? People were getting inquisitive. The explorer was starting to return. So they had to then, give an avenue to feed that enthusiasm in science. And they've hijacked real science and turned it into a religious story, right? And you can see it and you can separate it by applying exactly what it says to you. Where's the mathematical jargon? When does it apply to actual reality? Is there actual practical examples? Are they recreating all of these claims that they're making, assumptions that they have, right? All the way down their whole storyline, right to their big expansion or their big bang, right? Because if they're claiming they fucking know it, they should be recreating it, but they can't, because it's a fucking story and it's idiocy. Anyway, I digress. Ayatollah of rock and roller, your feed isn't working for me, but apparently it's working for others. That's fine, I'll just catch the upload. Again, I can only apologise, it's out with our hands. Rolling Stone, Dale, the only way the general public will wake up to the flat earth is when the mainstream starts reporting on the flat earth movement seriously. Well, are they going to report on it seriously? Are we already seeing it creeping in where the mainstream are starting to get involved? They're looking to cover certain events that are going on. They're looking to speak to certain people. whether or not it is real journalism, whether or not they report it objectively, that being that they report exactly how they interview and ask people the questions, who knows? And even when they do that, what piss are they going to put out there? For me, you have to hear caution in regards to them offering us another lie, right, about where we are and why they've lied. But we'll cross that when we get to it. Ron Burgundy, Levi Foster, what do you think would happen to water if you send it to the moon? ? Do you think the water would stay flat on a curved moon surface? Again, these mad mental gymnastics. What would happen if I took a shit on Pluto? Would it scatter everywhere, or would it form into a ball? I think it would form into a ball. Therefore, the Earth's a globe because my shit turned round on Pluto in my imagination. Look, Marshall, all my kids know the Earth is no spinning ball at 7 and 5. Good on you. It's exactly what we need. These generations of kids questioning. Right? I don't tell my kids what to think or what to believe. I encourage them to have no beliefs. I encourage them to be direct realists. I encourage them to have a discerning mind and assess the world for themselves using their own common sense and the faculties that they have. And I encourage everybody else to do that, because if this strings out and I don't get what I'm looking for, then I hope that they will be the next generations that will take it further. Photoshops, I don't like Dell being alone. I know, Billy Namates. I'm going to make a smoke here, just bear with me.
That was that phone switched on because photos in the chat said, should he phone in? I said, well, yeah, of course.
Don't go in feeling sorry for me, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's not a fucking, it's poor Dell sitting there himself. Look at him, oh no, he's no guest, nobody likes him. Dell couldn't give a fuck. Dell could not give a fuck.
I think he was being polite, dude. He's got a story about phoning up the UK Space Agency this week, and I think he was eager to tell it.
Excellent.
Yeah, photos, dial in, man.
What if I just sit here in silence, make it uncomfortably silent until he's all fuck off? But you can't prove gravity. You see the effects of it daily. This gravity. What about measurable curvature? What about the fact that you keep ignoring the substance, the measuring tool that I've put to you? You're really not doing yourself any favours. You're showing yourself up to be a religious fanatic here, a blatant reality denier. Rock vibrations, the people need to wake up before it goes mainstream so they can understand the bollocks that will be told. Well, that's a good point. For me, they'll already be, realising that grassroots and activism is taking hold. And for me, if there's an agenda that they have to push, they're going to be unravelling it quicker because of that very reason, that people will not have time, like we have for the last couple of years, to assess and watch what's unfolding and what's going on. It's either that or they'll try the big ridicule in their new fucking CGI special effects Hollywood film stunt. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work for people like me. It might work for some others, but it's not going to work for me. Their images and their videos will never trump natural physics, ever. Adam Eves, that yes, rock vibrations, the mainstream will twist the fuck out of the truth as always. Anthony Riley, Dale, invite Ron Burgundy on. He seems to know a lot about the world we live in. Has he made any comments to see the waffle he's putting?
I think that's a reference to his support of the videos that a guy called Soundly's been putting up, which are the mock curvature in photo form, if you like.
Yeah. The sophism of, oh, look at this visual optical thing that's going on straight out in front of you. We claim it's curvature. Well, here's a thing for the Lake Porcher train. How much curvature is there and how much distance is it? And then pan back and shows it from fucking left to right, and then realise how fucking ridiculous it is and how small your wee tennis ball nature-defying sphere pair would have to be. Again, this is all part of this, division and confusion with people, these fucking muppets who continue to rattle on and ponder our images. Oh, look at my image. Oh, but my image shows something different. And all the contradictions that are going on within it. It's a waste of fucking time. And that's exactly what it's for, to waste your fucking time and confuse you. Ron Burgundy, Levi Foster, physics of water. Its surface is level at rest, aka perpendicular to the force of gravity, not flat. What a fucking word salad that is. Pure word salad from Ron Burgundy. Levi Foster, physics of water. Its surface is level at rest, aka perpendicular to the force of gravity, not flat. What kind of word salad bollocks is that? This is the stuff I'm talking about. Level, water being level, is a fundamental fact of reality. The molecules particles are not able to support themselves as to display convexity. It is childish. It is basic physics. You don't need to be lazy. Go out right now, Ron, turn the fucking tap on. Jesse James, I feel Dell has turned into a Jehovah's Witness. I know, Jesse, because I'm out selling religion and forcing it on people and preaching it. I see you in the comments continually. You're probably Timmy or Jed or one of these fucking illogical morons, right? You're no smart. You're a pie. Hello.
Hello, Dale. How you doing?
Hello. Who's this?
Mikey.
Mikey, how you doing?
All right, man. Yeah. I'm not ringing you out to start getting the party started. I know you're on your app, and I know you're not really fancy ringing really, as long as there's maybe something going on.
Yeah.
But I phoned up the UK Space Agency this week, and in actual fact, I've been on at them for probably about 3 months now, on and off. And it's got like a main dial number, and then they put it through. And originally, when I called in, there was a young lady that worked there, and I explained to her the dimensions of the Earth and how we can't see curvature and all these other things. And she was head of communications there, kind of like a press office, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she took a lot of all of this on board. I said, look, let's try and champion this, see if we can get closer on it. She goes, no, I'm going to do that. I can see where you're coming from, So I left the river for a couple of weeks, and then tried to follow up at her again. But she was, you just couldn't get a hold of the woman. You go via the main dial number, and then she wouldn't, she just wasn't there, not available at meetings or whatever. And then in the last couple of weeks, I thought, well, look, it's been at least 2 months now, but we've got to get some closure on this. So the other week I phoned up, and I said, look, is she in? And I'll tell you the name of the lady in a minute. But anyway, I said, look, is she there? And they said, the woman who picked up the phone said, well, we can't put you through because the lines are down because of the rain. I said, you what? I said, you're telling me you can't put me through to the UK Space Agency because the lines are down because of the rain? I thought, this is hilarious. So I said, look, put me through to your manager, will you? Because this is just bizarre. So she put me through to this manager chap, and he said to me, I said, look, this woman's just told me that the lines are down because of the rain. Is this true? And he goes, no. I said, well, where did you get this information from then? It's 2017, and you're telling me that you can't put me through to someone because of the rain. This is just ridiculous. He says, well, I've got no answer for that really. I said, so you're telling me Paul Pye then? Is that what you're saying? Anyway, push comes to shove. It was what it was, and they tried to put me through to someone, and then I was just put through to a voicemail. And then just last week, I thought, right, let's follow this up, because I left the voicemail, and this new chap had not phoned me back. And I was instantly put through. I was staggered. And the chap that answered the phone, by no word of a lie, when you had Tim Osmond on, I'm only using this as an example, but when you've been engaging with Tim Osmond, with, how do I say this? You know how you engage with particular people, but they don't take on any information that you're giving.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going out on the street and you speak to someone and you say, look, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Normal people would say, oh, yeah, I understand that. Was it someone who knew the real deal? They'd say, well, have you looked at it this way or looked at it that way? But they would still appreciate what you were saying.
Yeah.
So from the outset, and I hope the powers that be, let me say this, I mean, a certain channel is probably monitored, so this is why I want it aired. The first thing I said to him, because he was an American, I thought, well, this is odd, because the communication man perhaps should be British. So I said to him, straight out, I said, look, do you work for the CIA? And he kind of chuckled it off a little bit. He goes, no, not at all. I said, oh, okay, we'll get a pen ready then, mate. So I've got his pen, and so I said, look, write down the dimensions of the Earth. So I gave him the dimension, I gave him the 8 inches formula, and I ran through so many different explanations as to why I believe that the Earth was flat. And quite blatantly, he just refuted everything I said, but he could not come back with any claim and no rebuttal at all.
No.
And I checked my calls, and this went up. So I had a good 40 minutes with this chap, and in the end, it was just falling on deaf ears, and he claimed gravity was a fact.
Yeah.
I said, so you're claiming with me on the phone, you're the head of communications, and you're telling me gravity is officially a fact. He said yes.
So,
he went on down the road a bit more and talked loosely about static electricity. I said, so you're changing it in now then? So it's not gravity, it's electromagnetism. Is that what you're saying? He goes, well, yes and no, but we just danced around for 40 minutes, didn't get you anywhere.
yeah. Well, good on you for trying, though, mate, and harassing them,
Well, that's what I said. I followed it up with something on the Facebook, and I said, look, people, when I phoned you up the other week, posting stuff, it's all very well and good to do all these things, but you've got to start sort of fighting back a little bit. And the point of fact is, no one's going to do anything to me.
Yeah.
It's just letting them know that you are there.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to come around and arrest me and say, Mikey, we're going to anyway. So what's any good of coming to lockdown? I don't know. Where's people's mentality of being scared to tackle the authorities? Because you're on Facebook, and that's a controlled platform. So people already know where you are.
Yeah.
They know they've got all your information. So you've got nothing to hide. You're not some rogue person running about. They want to get you. They'll get you. So
that would be a great. That would be a great laugh. You know, one has been taken to court for claiming the Earth was flat, and then having a court case about it and saying, "Well, you know, here's the case." It'd be excellent, but they'll not go there.
Exactly. So I think they've had a hard job on their hands. But the damnedest they do and the damnedest they don't.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, people, if anyone's got the balls to do it, is literally Monday morning, ring up and just say, well, look, can I speak to the head of communications? If he's not there, we'll say, fine, okay, I'll ring back.
Yeah.
They'll try to prompt you to send an email in, but your emails can get deleted.
Yeah.
They'll get pushed around and you won't get any closure on it. The only way to do this is contacting actual powers. There's no point chasing after Brian Cox. Again, you won't get closure from me.
No.
You have to engage with people that are real people. It's like I phoned up, the Met Office. That's a good one. If you want to engage people, ring up there. Don't just speak to Lucy, who mans the phone. You want to speak to her boss.
Yeah.
So you've got to own it. Say, look, this is how it is. I think the thought said nonsense.
Yeah.
If people aren't regularly doing it, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Like you said the other day, though, you know, like you've got regularly standing on the and do all these things. Well, you can do this in a 2-minute lunch, you know, during your lunch break.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a big deal of anything.
Well, that's it.
Cut your phone.
That's it, and I would encourage that as well. But obviously, you know, being respectful and well mannered when you make these phone calls, you know, that's really a must. It's not about phoning them up and giving them stick down the phone, you know. Just phone them up, ask them, you know, the questions that have to be asked, and then by that you're letting them know that there's a, you know, there's a presence of people. Exactly. But you're right. You're right. You know, these propaganda personnel like fucking Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson, they're not the people. They're just fucking muppets.
Yeah.
You know.
Good. What you're doing, you are enlightening Jessica, who works behind the phone.
Yeah.
So she might not know. Indirectly, you can tell. Well, by the way, why don't you go on some YouTube site? You know, drop some names, ask them to go and have a look at a site. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
But if you're all doing it, imagine if 20 hours of the day phoned up to Case HC and said this. Eventually, Johnny picks the phone up. He's going to go, hang on a minute. It's the 30th phone call we've had today with someone saying the Earth's flat.
Yeah.
It's not just my kid who's lost his onion. It seems to be an epidemic. There's obviously something we're missing here.
Yeah, I think
These aren't normal phone calls, and they won't be prank phone calls, because if everybody's normal, which you would be when you ring up, you've just got to be normal about it. And the more you do it, the more versed you become at doing it, and the more confident you become at doing it, and less intimidating.
Yeah. Well, good on you, Mikey. Keep at it, mate.
That's what I do. What else am I meant to do?
Well,
I can't keep kicking me arse, can I? I've got, you know, the only way we'll get closure on this, can't coach your way to freedom, unfortunately. There is that social media platform, but I purely use it now as a form of encouraging people to do things, or proof that I've done something outside of the house.
Yeah.
And it's setting that example and that mindset of fight. And it's not about being aggressive. And I touch again like on your I joined your link later today, and I think I called the tail end with your activism bit with vandalism and stuff. And I have to agree with that. I don't think anything should throw or anything. And any images that I put up on my Facebook, they've all been. If there's one that I've found, it's not one that I've done, but that way. If I encourage anything, it's all done with like a Photoshop, but it's trying to encourage, you know, people to go out and hit streets and just become active. You know, it's just different ways. I was thinking about, and this is odd. It's a shame that you can't somehow crowdfund or I mean, I could pay it out of my own pocket, but if a lot of these guys on YouTube, if they've got all these followers, they could get huge sub numbers, and they could project those. You know, when you see those graphics on the side of buildings, when they do the advertising, you could do that on the side of like Edinburgh Parliament.
Yeah.
It's called Edinburgh Parliament.
Well, you're getting away one of my future plans there, Mike. I've already discussed that, putting a projector in certain places, just using a wee generator, you know.
And especially during the winter months, because there'll still be people outside. You know, it's not necessarily a daytime thing, and that's what's good. Is you can back it up at night time. I mean, we speak for a few minutes, change your location, put it on a different view. I don't think that kind of advertising can be pushed away or shut down cybernetic, I suppose, some kind of danger for.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine. I mean, the thing is, you could almost just get permission from the building owner, if it's the blind side anyway, and just get on and do it. But,
Yeah, that's it.
Again, like your neck of the woods would be awesome on the side of the castle.
Yeah.
From that park, that would be. I would sound giving you plans for. I should say, should I?
Well, that's our future, mate. But cheers, Mikey. Cheers for phoning and keep at it, bud.
No worries, dude. We've all got to be fighting, and you've got to do your little thing, and I'll do my little thing, and we'll just sort of muscle along and do the best we can. That's all we can ask for.
That's that, mate. That's it.
Yeah.
Cool,
anyway,
man.
pick that up, dude.
Take it easy.
You could get that phone number off Wikipedia. Just go, just have a look in case Space Agency and there's a homogenous number, and pick it up, ring the number, and just do it.
Cool.
All right, people.
Nice one. Take it easy, man. Cheers, bud.
Bye.
I see the Ron Burgundy message was frozen there and been deleted. Word salad, learn to read a dictionary, you fucking something or other. Well, it is word salad, Ron, because water's level perpendicular to the force of gravity. It's word salad because where's your practical example? Go and get a fucking ball with a body of water on it and show us how the level water works on your fucking ball. Using practical reality, no a computer, right? No plasticine or plastic. It's me, Tim Osmondale, on the run. You're right, it's flat. I'm such a twat. CIA on my arse. I'm such a tramp. Can you donate $10? We'll give you some ginger bottles. There's some glass checks lying about that you can have. Dale, I just saw a programme on Channel 5 catch-up called Britain's Famous Bridges. On the episode on either Humber or Cliftonville Suspension Bridge, the presenter mentions how the main tower's feet at either end are slightly wider at the bottom than top because of curvature. That makes no sense, but it's funny how it's casually being dropped into programmes when we've never heard the term before, Alex. Yeah, well, you know, the increase of that is everywhere, Alex. You know, I see it in wee adverts. It's popping up. There was one the other day and it's like a wee kid. It's an advert for something. The wee kid's holding an inflatable globe. I mean, they're fucking desperate, right? And this is how, you know, a cult religion works, you know? They know people are getting wise to it. They'll try their fucking death throes, their desperation, right? But sooner or later, they're going to have to realise it's not going to work. When I see a globe now, I'm repulsed. Hi, Dale. I've been doing some thinking, reading regarding the nature of the North. Whilst I don't take mythology as truth, I cannot help but wonder about the true nature of the northern areas. Personally, I think that we need is an exploration into the North. I cannot find any treaties or force stopping us. Only funds, supplies, courage for travel. What are your thoughts? If we are able to do this, I think it has potential to bring closure. Cheers, Kev. I am totally with you, Kev. That in the early days was one of the alarm bells for me that everybody focused on Antarctica. And for me, the central regions were just as important as well as everywhere else. But it's came to my attention in recent weeks with certain people looking into places like Greenland and what is possibly going on there. There is, bad activity. And again, looking at some of the places run about that region, the sea seems to be very stable. You know, places like Tiktayak-Tuk, you know, they build the houses right down at the shoreline, right on the water. You know, and they're that far north where apparently you would expect really harsh conditions, and it's just no really, reality. So there's obviously something going on there as well as any other place. Sorry, I know that there's somebody there. Elisa, just bear with me 2 seconds till I read this. Somebody sent me a link. Colorado Earth, flat gravity hoax. Get this up and read it out. Well, you'll need to make listeners aware it's hit the front page yet. It's hit the front page yet, not here. Whoever that is that sent this message, could you send the link to nocurve@gmx.com and Marshall could post it in the chat, or even have a look at it, Marshall, and see if I can screen share it if it's something worth looking at. Elisa, how you doing?
Good, Del. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. All right.
You're top. Looking good there in your blue hoodie. You're not looking cold, which is such a relief.
It's quite cold, actually. It's pushing down. A bit of a cold one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I've been watching your old videos because, I want to interview you.
Yeah.
Man on the street. And so I'm trying to, check out your progression from the start to now, because you've just become so important to so many people, and not enough. I know you're going to whinge about me putting you on a pedestal, but, you're doing good stuff. And, oh, my God, I went out last night and I blame the whiskey, but I I am like the worst representative for the flat earth. Like as soon as a guy gave me his gravity excuse and then he lifted his phone up about to drop it on the sand, I grabbed it out of his hand and threw it on the sand and yelled density, and oh God, I am the worst.
It's difficult. I get moments like that continually where, you know, you just like, fucking, I don't want to hear it again, you know.
That's exactly what it is. I'm triggered because my whole childhood I felt suppressed, like repressed mentally from being allowed to be myself, my natural self, you know, because everybody was such a rational materialist scientist, because we weren't a religious family, you know.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of spiritual experiences that didn't fit into the context of material reality. And I was always suppressed, and I'm still angry about it now. I can't stand people telling me what to think or what not to think because of that. And so I've been like, even that great video in your back collection that was Gav put it together about Socratic questioning. I've like studied that 10 times at least. I've written notes. I've practiced. I mean, the only thing I haven't done is practice in front of the mirror. And I'm still fucking throwing people's phones on the ground. It's because I have, the only thing I can do to contribute is talk to people who are already deprogrammed, you know, or deprogramming themselves. Because that's like the only place I feel like my temper's controllable.
Yeah.
And, you know, sorry.
No, it's difficult. It's not for everybody, you know. But for me, I can sit back, you know, if you're secure and comfortable with what you know and you're committed, then I can go out and engage with these people. And for me, it's the social aspect of it. It's highlighting, you know, how the social interaction goes, the different reactions you get. And at the end of the day, regardless of any of these interactions I've ever had, it's always been a warm handshake. And, you know, thank you very much for talking. It's been a pleasure talking to you. See you later. And that's it, because I'm comfortable with what I'm committed to and what I know, you know. So
have you? Sorry, I should say for the interview, but have you ever had any fights or bad ones that you're like, fuck, I'm not putting that on the air? No.
I mean, you know, if there was a good interaction and somebody was being really, you know, of course I would show that, but you don't really get it. Some of the things that I've no filmed, as I spoke about a couple of weeks ago when I went to the beach, you know, you're some right arrogant, you know, ignorant pieces of shit, you know. I don't mean them to be like they're pieces of shit. That's what I thought at that time, you know, just in the heat of the moment. But it's not even that they're engaging with you. It's just you know, I've got this attitude and I know, and I don't have to engage with you type scenario. You know, that's fine. But, you know, you're not getting anywhere by not engaging, you know, and by claiming that, you know, you're a smart ass and walking away with a smart ass walk proves absolutely nothing, you know. But
so many people missing out on opportunities to really unenslave themselves because they just like don't want to go there. Like I've got friends I discovered last night who are like, no politics. I'm like, well, what the fuck are we going to talk about? The entire world is politics. Everything is politics at the base level. So it's like, what do you want? Cat photos? I just don't have time. Like there's too much stuff that needs to be exchanged between us, and so we can change, unenslave ourselves. I can see that you've got that straight link to natural anarchy and natural sovereignty. That's where you're coming from, and that's great. That's where I'm coming from too. That's why it's so easy for me to see it. But I've got to learn how to frickin' get a sense of humor. Stop being such a triggered little kid. I swear to God, I'm going to end up in a wrestle on the sand with someone soon. I don't know, because maybe I'm a girl or a woman. I always think there's so many men are just like, oh, what would you know, sweetheart? Yeah. You know, it's like they just assume you're really dumb, and that's why you think it. And I guess I'm afraid I am dumb. So that's why they're pointing that at me, makes me go, oh, fuck, maybe I am dumb, because I am kind of dumb. You know, like I know I've had an IQ test. I'm not especially smart, but I have other talents or whatever.
Yeah, common sense is the most important thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's difficult because, you know, if you're feeling that kind of intimidation or threat like that, you've got that natural, you know, instinct to want to stand up for yourself and say fuck you, you know. But again, for me, you know, if you understand the logic of these people, it's easy to sit back and just laugh at them and say, well, I don't have to convince you, but your behaviour, you know, is totally illogical, you know, and it's a flaw on your part, and I can sit silently and smirk at that, you know.
That's pure evil. I like that. But that's how I should be approaching it. Like, this is something, it is a gift in a box, and you got to unwrap the box yourself, and you got to look in the box yourself, and you got to do it when you're ready. And that's how it happened for me. Like, if someone was trying to tell me the earth was flat in my life, I would have rejected it longer than I did, because I hate being told, like, I'm so scared that I don't know enough about anything, that someone will influence me, co-opt me. Deep level stuff, there is a part of me that knows that. So that's what made me look in the end. That's what made me do the research and go,
and it's
I
important.
have got to work out why I know it's a globe. How do I know it's a globe? That's what I started my research, and then, you find out it's not a globe. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say that's why it's important, is that we keep saying be a direct realist. And that way you're not going to get co-opted or pressured or believe anything. If you base things on your direct experience and keep it strictly to that, you're not going to be confused, That's
what I love about where we're at, and what you have really strongly hammered home amongst your friends and associates that you've worked with along the way, is that we have to go back to natural science. We have to throw out everything else. Doesn't mean we can't include it as information, but we have to throw it out as evidence or proof of anything. And we have to go back to natural science. And when you do, it's not a globe. So it's wonderful times. I feel like there's going to be breakthroughs. I really do. And then other times I just think, I'm just throwing guys' phones in the sand.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, I was probably just horny. I shouldn't argue when I'm drunk and horny. Or I am going to try and do some more street interviews, maybe when I'm stoned in the mornings or something, Well,
that's what the Socratic method's, there for. It's so that you're not, just as you say, you don't like people trying to tell you something. Somebody came up to me 6 years ago and says, "There's flat now." You'd be like, "Fuck off," But with the Socratic method, it's a method of questioning people in order to bring them to a place that they're going to have a realization. That's
I like that. Sorry to interrupt, but I do notice that. Like, I love John's interviews as well, but John has a bit more of me in him than you do. Like, you have this super sweet man on the street that's like, you're at your family Christmas or something, or even more polite, like you're at church. And John is a bit more combative and a bit more, you can feel his sort of anger, even though he's trying to lie, and he's got a lovely sing-song voice. You can feel the rage in him and the way he kind of pokes at people with the next fact and the next fact. And the harder they're going to be to convince, the more indoctrinated the subject is, which he determines in the first minute, the harder he goes straight into, it's not a round world. And then they're like, this guy's whack. But the people who are more open, then he dances around all day with them. So I know there is something in us that wants to fight. I don't want to fight. That's why I haven't done it much and I don't film it yet. But
it's the same for me. I'm always a mirror. If somebody brings me, a nasty attitude or whatever, I'm not always composed. Sometimes I'll just put the mirror right back up and throw it back at them, But
I've been known to totally trash a guy over the moon landing, because when they're 22 and they think they know everything and they think they can just speak louder or they can name the amount of degrees they have, and that was going to convince me that the lunar lander was real. When you've got like more time, but you've also got the internal build-up strength to be able to say, no, that's bullshit, and I know it's bullshit. You don't have that strength when you're 22 unless you've already done a lot of work.
Well, that's part of the skill. It's identifying. I can identify really quickly whether or not it's going to be worth having any sort of dialogue with a person, within the first couple of seconds of the interaction. So for me, I just make my decision there and then, whether or not I'm going to continue on with the discussion, because I know I'm going to end up with that. If they're just illogical and throwing their emotional crap and, their emotional responses at me, then there's absolutely nothing constructive in there for me whatsoever. So I'll just go like, you know what, it's fine, thanks anyway, and move on.
It does seem like the more relaxed you get with your own knowing and the more experience you have, the more you're attracting people who are more open-minded, but maybe not. You could get one tomorrow or next week that's just the same as back at the start. But the last one you did was really nice, with a couple ball in the park. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to whether or not you're committed. People sense that. If you're committed as a senior, secure with what you know, you're going to come across as calm, and then they'll mirror that back and they'll feed for that. The other thing about it as well is when the camera's involved, people have got a different mannerism to them, so that plays a huge part.
Yeah, it must be embarrassing as fuck to be interviewed, but when you're at that state of unknowingness, like I'm so glad no one got me in that, because I remember what I was like.
Yeah.
I had the old, well, the moon's round, the sun's round, why wouldn't the earth be fucking round? It doesn't matter to me. What difference does it make? We're still enslaved.
Yeah.
I had all that. So I'm glad I didn't meet either of you guys on the street, and there's no YouTube footage of me looking like a puppet.
Well, that's important to me as well. It's important. I always say that to people, look, I'm not here to try and make you look daft, because you can see their concerns a wee bit when you're asking to film and say, look, you're sure. I'm not going to rip the piss at you. I'm not deliberately trying to make you look stupid. If you make yourself look stupid, then, that's not really my fault. But I'm not going to edit it in a way to make you look stupid,
Yeah, that's good. That's really nice. That you're reassuring them, and that they're only going to look stupid because they might have a little bit of a dark corner in their own knowledge that they thought is pasted over and shiny and fine. Yeah. Hey, look, I'm going to let you go because I know there's probably other people that want to come on. I hope we can do this interview sometime soon.
Cool, no problem.
Just send me a message when you've got a time good for you. Thank you, darling. Good to see you. Keep up the great work, and hi to everyone. Thanks, Marshall, and all the team on the spanners.
Cheers for coming. Pleasure, Lisa.
Okay, ciao.
I had a couple of missed calls from a number in California. I'm sorry about that. If you want to phone back,
that'll be Nisper. Who's been waiting. Who's been rather insistent about getting through, but I said he had to wait until the floor was open. It's open now, Nisper. Dial it in.
Hi there. All the governments all over the world lying to us. Hello.
Hey, is this Dale?
Yeah, speaking.
Hey, Dale, this is Inspire. I've been waiting a bit. I'm at work right now, so I can't really talk too long. But yeah, let me just make a few points before I gotta go in. My whole thing is there's 99% of the community of flat earthers are young children or young adults that are very susceptible to this type of conspiracy. I don't give a shit if all people like Jaronism, Eric Dubai, you, whoever believes in it. I don't care about that. I care about the kids, who are coming up in school. I've had my 13-year-old nephew walk up to me and ask me about the flat earth. I mean, that's how ridiculous this is getting. And that's actually what caused me to...
Well, why are you concerned? Because it's for science. I mean, people and kids and adults and old people questioning, their reality and strengthening up science and sharpening up the tools is hardly something to be worried about. If the Earth is a globe and it is provable to be a globe, then there is absolutely no issue. What it will highlight and it will bring about is, a sharpening of the tools by everybody, So I really don't. I don't
say gravity doesn't exist.
They
just did an experiment with a feather and a bowling ball and a vacuum room. They both fell at 9.8 meters per second to the ground at the exact same time.
Right,
that's only possible with gravity.
Do we live in a vacuum?
Yeah, we're in a vacuum, yes.
Are we? Well, I'm not experiencing a vacuum right now. I'm experiencing a pressurised gaseous system. So why do we... My problem with these things is why do we continue to go to these things and how things behave in vacuums when we do not live in a vacuum? That is not natural to us. We live in a pressurised gaseous system. But just come back to your point, can you reiterate and actually expand upon what your actual concerns are with people questioning?
Well, the concerns are the flat earthers are preaching this fact. All of these, they're calling science fake. They're calling all the experiments, all of the thousands of years of scientific study. They're just throwing all that all out the window, reverting 500 years back. And I mean, this has been proven time and time again. It's getting out of control at this point.
I don't know what's getting out of control. And logical fallacies about 500 and 2,000 years ago are totally irrelevant. We live right now, and right now there is a question. There's people and generations who are asking this question, and they would like it.
Okay, so wait a minute. So about the experiment I just said, they just put a feather and a bowling ball in a vacuum, and they both cool to the ground at the same time. How is that possible?
Well, what I'm asking you, what's the relevance? Because we do not live in a vacuum. We live here on Earth in a pressurised gaseous system. The question that I'm involved in is what shape is the Earth that we live in? So your vacuum, bowling ball and feather is totally irrelevant to me in regards to that question.
But that's gravity.
What's happening? What's happening here is that you're getting involved in the psyop part, where there are so many straw men being put out there. You're then generalising and attaching that to everybody and thinking that everybody makes these very same claims. That's the problem with the propaganda and the psyop that has deliberately lumped everybody together, called it a community of one umbrella, when it is not. There is different factions and different people that come from different angles.
I clicked on the Flat Earth Society just to see what your guys' whole, I don't even know how to explain it.
Sorry, I'm going to cut in because you Flat Earth Society and then you say you guys. Again, it's a logical fallacy. You're generalising and attaching me and this platform to the Flat Earth Society, which is a total separate entity and nothing to do with me. So whatever the Flat Earth Society are saying and on their websites, I suggest you take it up with them. They do not represent me and I do not represent them.
Right, but also I sent you and Ahmad a video proving the curvature, which you guys totally dismissed. I sent you guys the live stream of the ISS, totally dismissed. You can't disprove it, yet you just say you just completely dismiss it.
Well, the burden of proof is on the claimants. So if somebody offers me a video and an image of a pink unicorn, then I'm sorry if I, reject that as any sort of scientific measurable proof.
The burden of proof is not on the globe. I can show you thousands and thousands of pictures of the globe. You can't show me one of the flat earth.
Excuse me, the burden of proof is on the claimant, and as far as I'm aware, I was born into a culture and the claim was put to me that it was a globe. I am now an adult that has my own mind, and I am questioning the validity of that claim, which is the claim that is being made. So the burden of proof lies solely on the globe. It is the one that is accepted. It is the one that is pushed to me. Countless.
So what do you want as proof? I show you video proof. I show you pictures. I show you science. I show you math.
No,
I show you years and years of scientific study. What more proof do you need?
You're just using buzzwords there. You're not giving anything with any real substance, man. I says it clearly when you were in the chat that for me, we have to come to understandings and first principles. For me, there is no accurate measuring tool that is more accurate than liquid, than the water, and how it behaves here upon Earth. You are offering pictures and video that has not been taken by you, that comes from an institution. That is not scientific, that is religious, and it's cherry picking.
Well, the problem here is you don't understand how you told me in the last hangout a few weeks ago, put a potato or something under the running water. That doesn't work. Gravity doesn't take effect till the mass is great enough for gravity to start kicking in. You can't just say, hold the potato underwater so you can hold the shape. That's not how
that's just a religious excuse. That's just cherry picking again, picking something that sounds good. It's no science. If you're making a claim, you should be able to recreate it and show it. So what actual size does the mass have?
How are we going to recreate something so massive?
What size does the mass have to be before your gravity kicks in?
There's no deterrent. It just has to be, a big mass.
Well, that's not very scientific. It just has to be a big mass. So when the Big Bang happened, and it was all gases and particles, when did gravity kick in? What was it that pulled them all together?
Well, that's still being debated, but you can't deny the fact that gravity's there in our everyday life.
Well, your definition, you would have to define it clearly and then offer practical examples of your claim.
I gave you a practical example with the feather and the bowling ball.
I know, but I deal with natural science, mate. I deal with what's actually observable in the natural world. Vacuums do not exist in the natural world. I don't live in a vacuum. There is nowhere on Earth that I can go and experience a vacuum in its natural form.
We don't live in a vacuum, but our planet in a vacuum.
Well, prove to me we live in a vacuum.
Well, how do you expect me to do that?
Well, you're making a claim, so don't make claims if you can't, produce. You're telling me I live in a vacuum. I'm telling you I don't. I live in a pressurized gaseous environment. Right? Where is the vacuum?
Vacuums wouldn't exist on Earth if it didn't exist elsewhere, is what I'm saying. How did we make that vacuum if there wasn't a vacuum elsewhere? We don't just create vacuum.
Well, if you're creating a vacuum on Earth, you're creating it. It's not a natural representation of the natural world. There's no vacuums in nature.
But I see what you're doing. You're steering me away. I just gave you evidence of the curvature with the video I sent you and your mod, which completely got buried under the sand.
No,
I sent you ISS live stream, which you guys completely dismissed. You can't fake the entire Earth and weather patterns
have you ever seen
something of that size.
Have you ever seen Superman movies? Have you ever seen any of these outer space movies? Have you seen Star Wars, Star Trek? I mean, they're faking. They're faking Earths, planets, fucking spaceships and outer space, aliens. I mean, you know, these things can be faked. That's why in natural science, video and images are not measurable proof, okay? And when they're cherry-picked under certain conditions, that is not the scientific method. So if we're getting curvature straight out in front of us over a certain distance on a ball, it has curving equally in every direction away from the observer, there has to be the same curvature from left to right. It's no there. So it's an optical effect.
You see plenty of video footage showing the curvature. I mean, I don't understand why you keep saying that.
Well,
there's hours, thousands of hours.
How can there be? Well, how can there be curvature? Here's the thing, right? Because natural physics trumps your images and your video, and I'm going to bring you back to natural physics. Water does not have the ability to curve in bodies. It does not have the ability to conform to the exterior of shapes. It is impossible. It's not physics. It's not what we test and observe.
That's only true if you don't believe in gravity.
Well, I don't have any beliefs, and I'm not going to believe in magical mystic forces, man. So you have to define these things, and you have to prove them practically in order for it to be classed as real natural science. If it works mathematically, fine. I don't negate that things might work mathematically, but mathematics is a language, okay? It's a formal science, and the reason it's a formal science is because it does not depend upon empirical observations, right? It's a man-made thing that can be used to tell stories.
Okay, so you don't believe in gravity, but you believe the Earth rises at 9.8 meters per second to account for it.
Nope.
No,
I didn't make any of these claims, mate. You're reading, again, you're generalising, you're reading from the flatearthsociety.org or whatever it is, and you're then trying to attach that to me. But listen, man, you know, I can see, you know, what this conversation is, and I appreciate you phoning in, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't trying to send you earlier saying you're trying to make money. I mean, you can't deny that, you know, the bigger YouTubers talking about flat Earth are in it for the money. I mean, it's obvious because there's no real science behind it. But anyway, thanks for taking my call, Dale. I got to get back to work.
No bother. Take it easy.
All right, yeah.
Dale.
You all right, Meryl?
Yeah. Hey, another small step for the common man.
How's things, mate?
That's good. It's good. Yeah.
Cool.
It's good to sit back and listen sometimes, you know. That's all you got to do. Like, put a sock in it. Put a sock in it sometimes, because if we get good at hearing people out, whoever's got anything to say, I really learnt that last night anyway, but that was good. It's good to hear you just I wonder where does a lot of because I'm not looking for it, but I wonder where a lot of the information people get actually comes from. Where is this information really coming from?
What information specifically?
How far the sun away, like how far is the sun? It's like, what measuring tool on Earth did they use to establish that in the first place?
Yeah, and again, you know, you get back to, well, what is the sun exactly and where exactly is it? These things are imperative. They're really important in order for you to measure anything, or else you don't know what you're measuring, you know? But it's again, people are getting it from whatever sources and they think they believe it. Like the last guy, I totally understand where he's coming from. And these people, you know, they've been swept up by what they think is science. They don't understand that there is a separation, and there has to be a separation in the sciences. It's just all lumped together as one thing. And I totally understand what they're at, but, you know, they're wrong.
The thing I like about talking to you about this is I can see, have you ever talked to anyone about this that is actually, they'd probably class themselves as a flat earther, right? That didn't go through some kind of process of researching, just sitting down for a second and saying, hang on, am I on a globe or not?
Yeah, well, the majority of people in this, through my experience, are people who, you know, have been really critical of themselves. Again, it's like people weren't born out of the egg claiming the world's flat. You know, people had to dig in, they had to sharpen their tools up and actually look at these things and try and prove or disprove, and they've done a lot of work, people, you know. As I say, me included, you know, Marty, you know, my close friends, you know, went through the exact same process. You know, it's not just like, oh, I just fancy jumping on a whim here and, you know, no, it's not.
It was in a cereal packet. Like, I opened up a box of cereal one day and it just said on a fortune cookie, the Earth's flat. So I went with it.
It's that mantra that they push. It's a meme, it's a meme, it's a meme. No, it's not. It's an ongoing scientific investigation and question, you know what I mean, discussion that's happening. And again, you know, as I say to these people, all these concerns, oh, this is that if it's science and we're talking about objective truth, which needs science, real natural science, then it should never be a closed door. And it shouldn't be worried. Nobody should be worried or concerned about how far it's reaching and who's talking about it. You know, if they're secure and they know what it is, then what's the problem? You know?
Exactly. And then you get the other one of kids. So it's like, so what? It's okay. Let's just establish it. So it's okay when a kid goes to primary school to stick a globe in his face or her face and say, guess what, kid? That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's not just that concern, Meryl. It's the rest of it. It's the whole narrative. Oh, kids, here we go. You came from nothing. A never-ending expansion of random nothingness. Life came from nowhere with no rational, logical explanation, and you evolved from a fucking monkey fish without any actual practical examples or real science to prove any of these fucking things. So these people who say they're concerned, well, put your concern to the right things, because there's a fucking religious mind wipe going on with your kids right now, you know, in regards to the whole of existence, not just what shapes the earth. So they can come with all that, you know, mainstream bollocks and mantras that have been put out there all the like. You know, it's totally illogical, and anybody who ponders on it for, you know, even a small bit of time will realise these things. Hang on to now, the kids are going to school, they're being spun this whole materialistic religious fucking narrative, and it's been put to them as factual, yet we can't recreate, we can't test and observe any of these claims whatsoever, but it's been touted as science. Nah, there's something seriously wrong with that, you know. And regardless of what Earth turns out to be, all these things need to be eradicated. They have to fucking go, you know. So there's much more to it, obviously, than just the shape of the Earth. There's a whole narrative that goes with it.
I think, if I'm being honest, I think that's the real issue. It starts with the globe, but then stuff starts to get real very quickly, that we're in a real, everyone, like we're in a situation.
Yep.
Because I realised that last night too. Like, I went to a party, as you know.
Yep.
And so I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about full-grown adults and young adults here, right? Like, people have heard about it, but no one's really ready for it, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Nor was I. Like, what kind of training can you go through to prepare for this?
There is nothing, there's no guidebook, there's no manual to look at, you know?
Yeah. And then we're expected to know all the answers of how to approach this.
That's nonsense, mate.
Yeah.
It's total nonsense. We don't have the answers on how to approach this. We don't have the answers to full objective reality, you know. But because we don't have answers doesn't negate in any way, shape or form that, you know, the question we're putting, you know. There's a question surrounding the validity of that claim, and that's it.
And that's where I think, for what I can tell, the little I know you, but in my Geiger counter, that's where your humanity kicks in, and that's where you realise if you're a cold-hearted MF or a warm-hearted, caring person.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning at the moment.
Yeah.
But just to give a real-life example, so, you know, this is real life. Like, I'm not exaggerating anything. I started having a discussion with somebody in a kitchen at a party. He started trying to shut me down, not physically, just in his stance, in his rhetoric, and I got a little bit annoyed. I did, and I felt my blood boil a bit. And then it was like I was looking for somebody, because a lot of people there knew me as well. I wasn't in a room full of strangers, and there was one guy. See, this is the synchronicity part. I haven't seen a lot of these people for a while. When I first discovered it, I mentioned it to a kid. I won't name him, but I mentioned it to him, and I said, anonymous person, I think the earth flat. Leave it with me. I'm researching it, but if I really can establish that, yes, this is the facts, I'll come back to you. I haven't seen him for months. He walks in the kitchen at this stage, open-minded guy, not buying into anything. He goes, oi, you. He goes, I know you. And I looked at him just like so relieved. I go, it's flat, bro. And he goes, is it? And I go, it is. And because he's ready for that. He's clicked. And he goes, it makes sense. It's the other thing that doesn't make sense. And people don't know what to do. Then you see there's this thing happening that some people are on board. They understand it because the model works until you question it. It's only when you question it that a crack appears.
Yeah.
From that one crack, you ask another question, another crack appears. And that's when the situation becomes kind of obvious.
Yeah. And people will not be ready for it. They don't like it. They don't want to face it unless there's another certainty that's offered to them. And for me, that's an issue. You know, that's why I've always encouraged people, look, it's fine and it's no scary. It's actually relieving. You sit in a position of saying you don't know. Once you eradicate all this nonsense in your mind, things that you've taken for granted, things that you think you know, that you've attached yourself to, that are totally out with your direct experience, life gets easier, and it's not a scary position. I mean, there's many of us now who are sitting in that same position, and it's comfortable. You can laugh about it. It's actually relieving to go, we're in this crazy situation. We don't know what the fuck's going on, but let's try and see if we can work out what's happening.
Yeah, and that's when I think, again, another synchronicity. So there's all this stuff happening. I'm at a party, I haven't seen people. I go out into the backyard. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Then you got a guy I've never met before, an American dude, right? And lo and behold, what's happening? He's had some acid. He's having a bad trip, and he's in the backyard. And I didn't know any of this at this stage. And I go out into the backyard, see a few people I know, and just catching up, and then it comes up again for whatever reason. And the guy tripping on acid starts to go, what? And he started to tune in, and he was a science buff, like subscriber to New Scientist. It was amazing. And he started to come out of this head in his hands, like holding his head, like, just trying to get his bearing. But all that stuff he'd learnt, reading science books, he's totally into it. He started explaining me the model of the heliocentric model. This guy knew it inside out, back to front, every which way. And I said to him, I go, how come you know this model so well? And he goes, because I love space. I love planet Earth. And I'm like, I go, seriously, man, you are like an angel to me right now, because of all the people who could be sitting here and the situation you're in. And I did not shut him down, tell him he was wrong. I saw it as a perfect opportunity to learn something. And I said, please explain me the model. And for 2 hours, this guy regurgitated everything he'd ever learned in his life. And I rode that wave with him for 2 hours, you know? And by the end of it, he ended up having to go. But by the end of it, I said, because there are a bunch of people around listening to us, and I said, get a blue marble, a big one, as big as a soccer ball, right? Made of glass, whatever you want. Put it on a pole and just imagine that. Can you imagine that? He went, yep. And I said, get a tap or a bucket of water and tip that onto the glass blue marble. And I said, what would happen? And I just went quiet, and somebody said something, and I went, can you just say that again, just so everyone can hear you? And they went, the water would fall on the ground. And I said, where will the water fall? And they went, onto the ground. And I said, that's where we are. And everything stopped. It was like time stopped.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean, it was powerful. It was powerful.
Yeah, we get people so wrapped up in outer space and committed to that nonsense that people are not looking directly here. You know? And this is where the problem is. They're so invested in that whole narrative. And it's been pushed in the last 40, 50 years through the media, movies, cartoons, magazines, comics. It's everywhere. And kids that have grew up in these generations have committed to it wholeheartedly. They've put their imagination into it, they've put their expectations and their hopes into it. And it's a difficult thing for someone to let go.
Me included. This for everyone. Me included. I was in the spaceship. My imagination was sent into space just like everyone else's. I was not born on another planet to this one. I'm just in Australia.
Yeah.
Just a different landmass across the way.
And I'm surprised with the water thing. They say, but Earth's so big, Earth's pulling it back past the glass ball onto Earth. And,
For me, the big magic trick, and I can't get away from this one, it does do my nana. I don't know what's holding the sun and the moon up. Like, I just can't get my head around that. If that's not a magic trick, I don't know what is.
Again, we're going back to heliocentric thinking, and that there are lumps of rock and gaseous rocks flying about in a vacuum. I mean, we don't know what these things are. We don't know if they are fucking floating. We do not know what the luminaries is the sun, the moon actually are and where they actually are, you know. So again, you know, people do encounter these problems because they're still trying to, you know, reason and think from what they've known before, when it could be something totally different, and we have to break out of that box in order to, you know, find out and establish what's going on.
Yeah.
Limiting our thinking to what we've always known before is not going to serve us any justice.
Well, that's the best thing about you, though, because I need to keep reestablishing this for myself. But if the globe believers are willing to go into battle for their globe, then they should not be afraid, because they're fighting for what they believe in. But if the globe believers are open to the possibility that they believe something, but there's a possibility there that is just a belief, that is the thing a lot of people on planet Earth have to face up to at some stage.
Yeah, and again, you know, that's a part of the relearning or learning. It's not a debate, it's not a one side against another side. We're talking about objective reality, and anybody out there who doubts that there is an objective reality, you know, it can be proven to you over and over again that there is something there that doesn't require your belief or your hope or any of these things. That's what we're talking about. It's the fundamentals, it's what reality actually is, you know. So again, for any of these people, you know, if they're globe believers, whatever they want to believe, it doesn't care, you know, it matters not what you believe, you know. And I don't have any care about their belief, because I'm interested in objective truth. If they're not strong enough to want to find out what objective truth and what objective reality is, that's not my problem. And because they're scared of that, doesn't mean that reality is going to change just to suit them, you know. So part of the relearning is for them to understand what we're talking about, first principles, what natural science is, the separation from natural, formal and social science. These things are hugely important in order for these people who are confused about what they think is science to have some clarity and see it for what it is, you know, rather than just going straight in, you know, defending and attacking.
And then it might take time, like it might not happen in an hour or a week, but using those tools with time, you'll be able to establish a basic reality using natural physics, natural science, and all that confusion will settle, and you'll actually be able to establish reality.
Yeah, that's why I always put it to people, when, you know, what do you understand the science, and for me, what the root of science means, and blah, blah, blah. And we have to base it on that, because, you know, if we don't, then we're wandering into, you know, never land, where I can make claims and I don't ever have to prove it to you. As long as I've got a fancy language that I can use that says proves it, then that should count. Well, no, it doesn't count. It always comes back to practical substance. If you're making a claim, you show it practically, you show the actual substance, and it should be measurable. End of story, you know. And many of these people think that that's what they're following until it's pointed out to them. That's not what you're following. You're following pseudoscience, you're following sophism, you know, and these types of thinking. So
that must be part of the reason with the children programming aspect to it, because they are, for a fact, don't get it wrong, us, and don't get it wrong, everyone, they are sending the human imagination into Never Never Land.
Yep.
That's what they do. That's why some people say this is a crime against humanity.
Yep.
It's okay for the education system to do that, but it's not okay for the general people and inhabitants of this so-called planet to discuss that openly in public and private.
Yep. And if it is a problem, then, you know, we're not dealing with science, we're dealing with, you know, some sort of control system that's trying to suppress it. Because if it is people who are claiming they're representing real science, there shouldn't be any issue with this being discussed openly, you know. And
then what you just, and then I'll be quiet, because then what you're saying too is science is a closed book again. It's a closed book. It's not open.
You know? And these people who are running about, they don't represent real science. They represent a religious belief, you know. Yeah. And the thing about the kids, you know, kids are taken in at that age and they're browbeaten into believing these things. They don't have the you know, the rational mind, the critical thought yet. They're not even being educated in how to be a critical thinker anyway, you know, so they don't even stand a chance. And for me, that's fucking tragic. And it's much more worrying, as I say, with the narratives that are being pushed than, you know, common people questioning the validity of these claims that have been put to them, you know. There's absolutely no worry there whatsoever. So it's totally irrational and illogical when I hear people saying that, especially when you ask them to elaborate and they've got nothing. It's just a mantra that's been thrown out there. It's an empty buzzwords, you know.
I think it's bullshit straight out that anybody out there, globe believer or not, whatever, who cares what your title is, that you've got the gall to make anyone with kids feel guilty for questioning reality.
Yeah.
Where do you get off making parents feel guilty for asking questions?
Yeah.
I mean, and then they're gaslighting parents.
Yeah, yeah. It's all the tools of psychological tools. It's all the tools that are used by cult type mentality. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that all we got to do is realize we're in a game.
Yeah.
They're playing a game. When I say they, it doesn't have to be one organization or group. A lot of this stuff is departmentalized and compartmentalized as well, because the less people in the full picture, the better.
Yeah.
Because then more mouths are shut.
Yeah, loose lips.
Less lips.
Loose lips. Yeah. So that's it. That was a question that's been put so many times. Everybody would have to be in on it and everybody would have to be lying. No, you know, that's, again, I don't have to keep saying it, but no, everybody has to be lying. You would then have to include me in that and claim that I was actively lying for 37 years of my life, and it's not. It was just a deep-rooted belief that I held and assumed to be true without any question, and I followed that, and that was it until I actually went and questioned it properly. Yeah. So
could I ask, because I don't know if everybody knows, like, can I ask you what, because no one told me either, Del. I came across this by accident. You know what I mean? Like, what made you start questioning it?
A different sequence of events for me. I'm not even going to get into the subjective aspect of having dreams and stuff like that, and that being on my mind the day that I, came onto this question, and I can't really pinpoint it, to be honest with you. I don't know if Marty had mentioned flat earth to me in weeks running up before, and seeing flashes of it somewhere, and then just that question coming to my mind, and the image of the globe, and the first thing that I seen was in regards to the liquid in the water, and I went searching for bendy fucking water, knowing fine well as I was typing it that I wasn't going to find it. And when I typed it in, I found like Eric DeBay and a couple of other people who were there on YouTube.
Nice. That's a good starting point.
Yeah, yeah. But again, it doesn't come down to, and it's great that there's information and there's different people, me, you, Eric, everybody else out there who've got something to offer that will trigger. The most important thing is that people don't just listen to something that sounds good or, just going with a feeling. I mean, going with a feeling or a gut instinct is fine, but do yourself a favour and actually study it properly and understand it so that you can then commit to it and you're not going to be swept up by any confusion,
Well, okay, more direct experience. So it's 4 a.m. or sun's coming up. I'm still up. No drugs, no alcohol, just me, because I'm alive. I'm happy to be here. Go to another party. It wasn't really a party, this one. This was just some people in the backyard around a fire.
Yeah.
And guess who I met?
Who?
Just a random person that is a fellow flat earther. And he was a computer simulator. He creates computer models for an engineering company. He didn't tell me what one, but he was telling me that all the computer models and simulations are based on the Cartesian X and Y, and it's all a grid system, and it's a plane, and never any model out there does not do the curvature of the Earth is not taken into consideration at all. It's all about level and then building the structure from the.
You need level. I keep saying this to people before. You have to have level in order to establish up, down, left, right, in every other direction. It's there. It's built into us. And it's the same. It applies to technology. Applies to everyday experience of life. It's just there. But that's not enough. We have to ignore that and we have to believe in an institution's videos and fucking images.
To actually sit down in real life with somebody on board with this and not have to debate or bend and go through all that emotional hubris or the feeling, because I go through it too, don't get me wrong, I'm not a robot.
Yeah,
it's emotional, but it was so just I felt like a relaxed place, and it wasn't like we then therefore knew all the answers to the universe. We just had a basic ease and a conversation. It felt good.
So?
It was easy. It was easy. No big thing happened, but it was like sweet. And I was like, really nice to meet you, man. Like, you've had some kind of shift in your thinking and you're questioning things, and fucking good on you.
That's it, mate. It's great when you meet it.
It's healthy. I can't get past that. Like, you gaslighting, mental illness, the idiosyncrasies of a human being. It's healthy.
Yeah. And again, you know, we don't have to have the answers. We can actually fucking find out and explore what you call the universe. And the universe for me isn't this outer space fucking nonsense. There's more going on across the way that we could probably find out about. And for me, that's much more tangible and exciting, you know, because it is a possibility for, you know, everybody to get involved and everybody to go exploring and finding out what the actual reality is, rather than getting caught up in these delusions that we call life, you know?
Yeah. And if anybody gets scared out there, if this the big power grid and the Illuminati and all that stuff, they know, right? This is coming out like it's just a gradual process. If everybody just like boom knew tomorrow, it's a process, right? They're letting it out gradually. It has to be like that because it's like coming out. It is like Dell's saying, like, you got the blindfold on and they whip it off and everybody's going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So even on that way, if it's evil or even that is compassion, because they could go mainstream and just drop it on everyone. Like, oi, we've had our finger up your ass your whole life. How you like that? Is that kind? That's not kind, you know. So I think there's you move through it. That if anybody's new to it or well deep into it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, it seems to unlock stages in you that it's almost like flat Earth is almost like a psychedelic experience.
We'll stop calling it a psyop, we'll call it psychedelic.
It sort of takes on that because your thinking starts to change, then you start questioning reality. For anybody who's had a psychedelic experience, that's what you do. And then the world around you starts to change and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I've seen that in people, that they start to go, hang on, what, whoa, you're talking to me about reality? I thought I was in reality. Where am I? And people almost like start to go to hang on to something.
That's what I'm saying. People do need certainty.
Yeah.
And that for me can be part of the drip feed as well, you know. But just enough for me, you know. I don't think, as you were saying, you know, even that's compassion. But for me, I think there's another deception on its way. There's some other bollocks that they're going to offer. You know, I'd like to think that it's just the end of this nonsense and this time that, you know, I'll call this the Dark Ages. You know, where people have been in bewilderment, confusion, lost, don't know who they are, where they are, why they're here. You know, that is the Dark Ages for me. That is confusion. So I would love to think that it's the end of that and we're going to enter into this new, you know, open paradigm where none of that exists, but I highly fucking doubt it, you know. And it's not paranoia. You have to air caution and be reserved on these things, you know. Make sure you're not jumping into a new belief.
What from your gut, you don't have to, you know that anyway, but would you be comfortable is there anything on your radar that you're like, I sort of reckon they're leading us, you know, like
I can see possible scenarios, mate. Oh, we're in a simulation, it's a big fucking game, there's no way out. Or, you know, there's a vast ice continent, it's infinite, but we're trying to get across it. Or, you know, we're stuck in here, there's monsters on the outside, there's aliens, there's whatever, I don't know. You know, I'm just at that point where I don't give a fuck what the truth is. You know, I don't want to believe or have any of these things. I just want to know what it is, regardless. You know, you
just want to be put in the picture a little bit more, mate. Because that's the thing. What you're going for, I want you to have because you've earned it. And I'm starting to wonder what the game is like, because certain people must know. So whoever those certain people are, maybe they're trying to establish who to let know. Have you thought of that?
No, mate, you know, the only thing I think is, look, I know the situation I'm in and I'm going to make a fucking noise about it and be a pain in the ass, you know. I stated it clearly, if there was any honour or any type of thing, they would put you in the picture, but it's never been forthcoming, so fuck it. You know, and again, you know, there's no rule book, there is no path that you're following. You know, I know the tactics, I know the games I can, you know, play in that aspect, but the rest of it, it's just, you know, stabbing in the dark.
Yeah, sure. Me too. I'm with you 100%.
don't know what the future is. Don't know how we're going to get there. What's going to happen? I just know to keep swinging that sword in the dark and hope that you hit some. Huh?
Good on you. Night vision, mate. You need the night vision goggles.
It's just the reality of the situation, mate.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, that's why people listen, because you're out there swinging, and it gives people strength, and then they don't feel alone. You don't feel alone, and then you start to realize we are a team. Some of us, anyway. And
the team is not something that has to be organised and written down. We are a team. For me, the team was always just like, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. And if anybody else is, partaking in that, arrives at the same place, then bring it and bring what you've got to the table. Just be you, be the individual, and let's see where it takes us.
Because you didn't send me an email. I found you because I needed to find something like this, and I've tuned into lots of channels on this process. But when I found Beyond the Imaginary Curve, something in me felt like I was home. I can't explain that, but that's what it felt like. It was like, hang on.
It's not here though, mate. It's just where you've arrived at in your own mind, and if you've came here and you've heard,
it's because you speak sense, and people ask me like, oh, why do you listen to your mum? And my mum annoys me, but you know why I listen to my mum? Because not everybody listens to their parents, because my mum makes sense. Yep. So it's my default. You know what my default is? Sense. Common sense. I got raised by a woman. That's what I got raised by. It's home to me. So when I found Dell and Beyond the Imaginary Curve, Marshall too.
You fucking seen me a woman? You fucking seen I'm a woman?
No, you speak sense, and that's why it felt like it resonated. That's it. That's what if you took the language away, if you took what you look like away, the tattoos, the Scottish factor, the spliff, the shed, strip it down like a natural scientist. Your essence spoke to me, and it was powerful.
Well, that's it, mate. It's about what's getting said. It's the information. It's not about who I am, and that's part of this whole game. People focusing on the persons. Let's get fuck all to do with that, because nobody's perfect, And again, just come back to it. If something resonated with you, then you've done that work yourself. It's not like you arrived here and the magic of Beyond the Imaginary Curve was sprinkled over you. You came here through your own path and your own discernment, your own critical thought. It all lies with you, mate.
It does. And I got carried away in a presentation for anybody who saw it months back, where I got swept up in the emotion and the moment, and it's okay. But I can see that it's like 2020 vision, hindsight. You look back and you're like, oh, I got swept up in that, yeah. But it's not a cult, because Dell's just a human being in his shed. It's not a cult. He's presenting like anyone can do this.
Is it?
I'm
painting the shed black.
Password.
If you want to be real, you need to come here and worship the shed. You have to march, run it, and you have to leave money in the donation box, right? Or else you're not a real truther. Yeah. Mero, I'm just going to go and grab myself a drink so you can waffle away there. I'll read the chat with 2 seconds.
Okay. I can't see the chat.
That might be a partial blessing, Merle, this evening, because there's been a certain amount of obscenity from trolls, but that seems to have calmed down now. Oh.
Did they say anything interesting to you? Did they ask you how you're going?
Well, they've never really got anything interesting to say, have they, apart from attempting disruption. So, but an issue dealt with. West Coast, what are you asking, man?
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so maybe.
I'll interpret for you, Merle. How long is the daylight this time of year, Merle, where you are?
Where I am?
Yeah.
Well, all right. It's 6:38 a.m. spot on, and sun's up. The horizon's got that orange haze, but the daylight's in. So right. both are happening. So 6:38 here. It would probably go down around 5. So however long that is. I don't have a calculator.
Right. Okay. Well, I think people are commenting because it's still light in the UK at the moment.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And technically, should we still be light in the UK when you've got daylight there?
Well, how far does light spread?
Well, you got me there, dude.
Same.
Depends on the power output.
Yeah, exactly. There's some really strong torches now. There's one called Blaze Light or whatever, and it's just like 10 times as powerful. One thing I was thinking with you and the level being water being the most accurate tool to establish level, I'd like to get a laser and the water and see which one is more accurate.
Well, it's already been done, mate, but you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, the laser's light. It's going to be subject to conditions and have refraction, diffraction. You know, there's moisture in the air. It's not accurate. You know, it's fine over a short distance, and then using it for building for houses and stuff like that. You know, or putting a picture up in your wall. It's fantastic, but you know, it's not going to be more accurate over a long distance.
Is it more accurate on a short distance in a building?
You probably get it just the same, aye. You know, it's
the same, yeah.
Try it yourself, mate. You know, you get a clear tube, clear tube, put water in it, make sure there's no air bubbles in it, you know, and make a mark on your wall with one side of the tube. Yeah. Take the tube to the other side of the room and hold it up and let the water settle, and then put a mark on it, and you'll have a near perfect level.
Yeah. There's a show in Australia called The Block where they do renovation and build things, and everything they do has to be level. They've even had to take structures down because it was off. Yeah. So I love that. I love it.
There's loads. I mean, even on YouTube, there's builders, there's people showing practically how you use these things and declaring how accurate it is and why they prefer it. And, you know, it's all there. You know, again, it's just reality, everyday practical reality, common sense.
Look, try to hold it.
Yeah. The bubble is round, therefore the earth is round.
On the level.
Yeah. And if I held that up, if that was extended all the way to me, you know, if we're at the right height above sea level, then that level is going to remain perfectly fucking horizontal and straight all the way from me to you, mate.
I'm really, I said to someone last night, like the first 40 years of my life feel like training for it. It's funny.
Sorry, man, I just negotiated a trade deal for tea for a doobie.
What about the trade deals? Because again, my dad, I think because I didn't see him all the time, so say if we lived together, I probably would have been like, oh God. But when you'd see him on a weekend or whatever, he'd want to do something, you know, take you somewhere kind of thing. And he took me way back to this thing called Blue Rock Dam, which is in Victoria. It's huge. But you go back to your memories, the water in that dam was a still day, no wave, and you could see the reflection of the sky on it. It was like where the sky and the water met and they just were mirroring each other, but it didn't curve. It was whoosh.
Yeah, of course.
Like you could skim a stone across it and it would just go on forever.
Just as it should be, mate. You know?
Yeah.
It's the same. We use canal systems and it all works on level grids and things come down in levels and they go up in levels and everything's level, you know? None of these things would operate or work. You know, living in fantasy fucking globeland, a dam, you could shorten the area space and just pile the water up on top of its fucking self, according to these lunatics.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed I believed it as long as I did. Now you go through that thing of like, how could I have never questioned this?
Same as everybody else, mate. You were browbeaten into it, browbeaten into submission. And again, at that age, no understanding the relevance of, knowing these things to be, truthful or not truthful. You're just a kid with enthusiasm and exploration on your mind, and that's all you're invested in. So if they can get that in there when you're no reasoning, you're no critical thought, then fine, you just adopt it. Put it away at the back of your mind, assume that it's true, take it for granted and try and move on. So, well,
how long have you been going? Should I jump out or I sort of?
It's up to yourself, mate. I'm going to just read out some of the comments here in the phone, and I'll go to the chat box and I'll read out the comments there. So,
yeah.
Meryl's right, man. It's your essence that draws truth seekers to the channel. But like it or not, you are a special character too, though, and the fact you are working class and don't hold back communicates better than these so-called scholars who talk mathematical bollocks. Red Machine Kieran. Cheers, Kieran. I wouldn't say I was special. Some people would say I was special for other reasons. Appreciate it, man. Dale, don't waste your time with these spheroid gravity-looking cunts. Dale, hang it up on the nugget. We live in a vacuum. Did I hear correctly? Question mark. Yeah. And again, I totally get it. People have not got any patience for them, but sometimes it's good just to reiterate and highlight the fallacies and the nonsense that come from some of these people. It's always good to keep sharpening your tools and remember what the situation actually is. Dale, I watched your catch up with Gav video, and Gav's buddy came to the platform. He was talking about rockets and gravity and how NASA was saying something about left and right. Then he just came out with "that's pish," and I folded. I kid you not, Dale, I was in fits of laughter. For hours, it was great, man. I think he was from Oz. Brilliant to hear the Scottish patter going all the way to Oz. That was Glenn who was on. I remember that well. Eddie Grant Jr. from Kirky. Cheers, Eddie. Dale was just thinking about the gravity question. If the moon has gravity but only a quarter or whatever hours, who found this out? Question mark. Surely the difference between the moon and the earth is the pressure system on both. I think it proves that because there is less air and therefore air pressure is less. That is why objects take longer falling in space. But they would have us believe the gravity on earth that is pushed on us suddenly it changes if on another world. Well, yeah, again, we're getting into their fantasy about how they know what these things actually are and how much magical energy this one has and how much magical energy that one has. It's great, that fantasy land. You can just make up any old pish as you go. Dale, what is the alien doing behind you, laughing my ass off? Don't know, is he making faces? That's my prop. I use that when I go out in the street sometimes, and it attracts people so that I can put some information on the front of it. But, if you're asking me, the alien, if I'm into aliens, then I don't rule out the other possibility of some other life, other minds being involved. I mean, who knows the situation we're in right now? I can't rule anything out. But in regards to them coming from outer space and from Neptune and all this stuff, then no. So.
And like you said earlier, what did you say? I wrote it down. Taking a shit on Pluto.
My shit fell faster than my snorter on Pluto, therefore some nonsense reason I don't even know.
Oh man. Have you ever been in a situation where you've gone out and done an interview and somebody's already made the transition?
Aye, a couple of times. The last time I was in Irvine, there was a boy that approached us that knew about it and said, brilliant, well done. He wasn't aware of this platform, but hopefully he is now, and he's maybe listening. I forget the lad's name, but a few times it's happened. I remember in the kind of earlier street interview stuff when me and John were out, there was a couple of people who'd approached us. So it's quite good.
It is. It's a different headspace. I mean, see, I'm more used to talking to you now, but the first half of that party, I mean, I'm in the moment now, but it just was really this one guy. He almost tried to it was almost like a hip hop battle, like where you're battling each other with your dance move.
Listen contest.
Yeah, and he was like, because he's right into Alien, like big, and he reckons with his parents back in the day they saw a UFO, and he was in a car and they saw some kind of low level flying object like a disc, but a big one. And when the whole family became aware of it, he reckons it just went like just into outer space or into the air, but real fast, just went doof. And I'm not trying to make out he's a liar.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying about not, can't rule anything out. For all we know, this could be the maintenance crew. The machine that we call Earth maybe needs maintenance. I mean, I don't know. There's all sorts of possibilities, mate. As I say, I don't rule any of these things out. But until it's actually there in front of you and proven beyond any doubt, then I don't get any space. I don't have any space for it.
That's the best. That's the best thing I've heard in a long time. Because that's when you hear, you go, oh well, is it humans in these UFOs or alien? But I mean, there's been a lot of sighting. You can't hoax all of them.
But how do we know it's not humans with technology that we don't understand, mate? This is the other aspect as well. Again, it's one of these kind of hypothetical, topics There are so many possibilities. You know, at the end of the day, I'll keep my mind open to any possibility in regards to other life. But for anybody to be claiming one way or the other that this is what they are and this is what they're up to and this is where they're from, and you know, I don't buy any of that crap. But if people are reporting it, then you know that's a phenomena that has to be looked at. You know, and as I say, for me, I just keep my mind open to the possibility.
Yeah, because I was making a video and I got a Japanese friend. He's really into alien, and being Japanese, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they're a bit kooky sometimes, but in a good way. You know, they're just cartoons. They're real imaginative people, but and they have actually a lot of folklore in Japanese culture, all about spirits and the spirit world and ghosts. Really interesting Japanese culture. But anyway, he totally believes in aliens. So I was going somewhere with that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that though.
That's all right, mate. That happens. Yeah. That happens. You're on live TV. You can't do that, mate. Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I got connected for a second.
Your contract's being ripped up right now.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, I'm going to read these messages and I'm going to have a read at the comments in the comment section.
I'll jump off and...
Aye, whatever suits you, mate.
Okay.
Man, I'm going to be heading over to Scotland this season for a Dundee United away match toward the West Coast. Would you be up for a smoke and a chat? And I'll bring you over some Irish soda bread and potato bread for a fry-up. Of course, Kieran. Aye, batter in, mate. You know, you're more than welcome. Same for anybody else who wants to pay a visit and have a chat. You know, you're more than welcome. You just need to send me a wee message, let me know you're coming. But I look forward to that, Kieran. That'll be great. So, I'm going to go to the chat box and see what people are saying here. William Karina had to reconcile my odd family history about aliens and flat earth. I lean more towards human fuckery. Yeah. For me right now, you know, we know there's humans involved and that's directly, you know, experienceable. The rest of it is not. So, and it's not hard to foresee, you know, how humans would be playing a huge role in it without the need for any other race. But again, you know, I'm not ruling it. Giordano Bruno, when is the next meet-up in Paisley? Well, maybe soon. People are asking about it, maybe organise one. See if Rob McKenzie or Margaret's about to... I know that they're the organisers. I don't know if they still want to be involved in it, but it would be great. But it's all about feedback. We need to know that people are wanting it. So maybe in the next month, you know, hopefully get another one happening, you know, in the summer months so people can get together. Maybe if some sort of activity happening this time rather than people just sitting about having a drink in the pub. Riddle me this, I know, but this isn't the platform to discuss this stuff. I have my own beliefs. I respect Dale's platform. You know, you're entitled to believe what you like. Riddle me this. And as I always said, I can have discussion about any possibility, any topic. But in that discussion, you know, I always have to make it clear that, you know, I'm going to stand up against, you know, people making claims to things being objectively true, and for me it's not been established if they are. So it's not about, oh, you're not, you know, people can't talk about this or that there. It's only when they're claiming things to be true that I have an issue. But we can discuss anything. Like Vats, I saw a UFO 3 years ago, looked into that, mainly Richard Dolan, who led me from that to 9/11. And then from that I went through pretty much every other so-called conspiracy. Flat Earth is the real litmus test. It certainly is, and again, I'm going to reiterate that, you know, the difference with this is that it's something that's directly experienceable by everybody. It's not something that you have to listen to a YouTube video or a book or an ancient account from a time long, far, far away. That's the beauty of this. This is about, you know, people using their own critical thought, their common sense, and all their other senses, and bringing that to the table. And, you know, it is there for everybody to experience. The rest of the stuff, it's not. Uppercut, Dale, if I was living in Scotland, I would be replacing that alien.
Dale, I've overlooked somebody who'd been asking for a link. You hanging in for a bit? Do you want to guess at the moment?
Aye, go for it.
Okay, Ed, your link's out, Ed.
I've not been smoking the joints tonight, so I'm still pretty energetic. My brain's not shutting down yet.
Right, I'll explain myself. I've had a certain amount of attempts for trolls to spoof an invite, and so I've overlooked maybe a couple of guests. So I'll apologise up front. Ed, your link's out now, though, dude, and I'll go back and check through this twice to make sure nobody else has been missed.
Well, so what trolls are we getting? Are they trying to kid on or somebody else so that they can come in?
Yeah, I've got one here from Phil McCanister. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to give their name because they haven't screened out their actual email address effectively. So don't be ridiculous.
Lucky Phil.
Yeah, and a couple of others as well along the same line. So you get the idea. And also Ed got trapped in amongst all of that. So I'm sorry about that, Ed.
Oh, it's all good.
How you doing, man?
Hello there. We met briefly at the Paisley Hangout.
So we did. How you doing, bud?
Doing well.
Excellent.
I agree with what you're saying of it'd be good to do something that's more active, get something involved.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting so many people at the hangout in Paisley, and my alarm bells go off anytime there's a group of people. I'm like, if there's a group, there's a show. There's going to be someone, you know, and it's maybe not be the case, but I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
So I spoke briefly to you about how I got introduced to kind of the flat earth, and I'll kind of say for other people's benefit as well. What brought me onto it was the maps. I was just looking online for maps of something, and it was all the different maps that you have of the world, and I didn't understand that there was different maps. I thought there was map, and that's what everyone used.
Yeah.
And I was also doing stuff with like video. I'm a videographer, photographer. I studied photography at college, university, and it was a project that it was doing about like the universe, and it was like having an image of someone on Earth and then kind of like zooming out through the galaxy. And I knew that NASA had public domain images, so I'm like, great, I'll just use their public domain images. So I went on their site and I'm looking through, and I'm like, all right, these are CGI. I'm looking for the ones that are real. And 2 hours later, I'm like, this is a laugh. I'm searching on, going like, where are the images? Where are the photographs that I'm looking for? And I started getting all these links to other things that didn't make sense. And I'm like, well, if they're doing it pretty good in Star Wars, so what's happening here if I'm looking at the images and they're not even as good as the stuff in Star Wars?
Yeah.
And it looked so inconsistent. And then just some of the stuff coming out of NASA, the one that tickled me sideways, one of the Earth, and it has like the backside of the moon, and it's like a GIF of it going over, and it's like that's not even using like a computer generated 3D rendering of a sphere. It's just like the most 2D thing you could ever look at.
Yeah. I remember that well. That was the same for me when I started the discovery and going to like NASA and these places and frantically trying to find photographs, and it has to be real. But right away, once you're already triggered in that, you're looking at it and going, that's not real. That's not actual photographs I'm looking at, and why have I never noticed this before?
It's like too obvious. Like you look at the lunar lander, and I'm like, is that tinfoil? That's tinfoil. That's like graph paper, not graph paper. Like I don't know, like art paper. It's just like this white and black kind of weird paper. And I'm like, how could you land? How could you fly with something like that? And I'm thinking, was there images of people like taking photographs through a telescope of the moon when it landed? And I'm checking through, and it's no, everyone's just watching the live feed. I'm like, yeah, I've done that before. I've done like performances on video, and did they fake it? Even if it's something like that's genuine, even something that's live, you need to have something that's there already. So if something cuts away, so you've got images and video that's already like full. And then looking at all the ISS stuff, I'm like, well, how are they doing all this zero gravity? If they're flying, they must be flying around because they were dropping through. It's like, well, they're not dropping through all the time. I've seen Stephen Hawking's flying about, so what's the deal with that? And then you see them, and it's like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah,
this is daft.
That foldy arm bounce, it tells me that they're upside down on some sort of bungee cord, one of these waist swivels, and because you see them, it's like this is if their arms just wanting to actually fall back, they're having to focus to stop that from happening. Yeah, that's just what I see. But
you start looking at it and it feels really unnatural. And like one of the videos I watched was like the video cuts between it, and it's like someone's like crawling into a hatch and they fade out, and I'm like, no, but that could just be. And I catch myself, and I'm like, who are you trying to fool here? Like, what belief structure am I trying to perpetuate? Look at what you're looking at. Does that look real to you? Yeah, I wasn't even questioning the shape of the globe. I'm just like, this is fake. Why are NASA faking? If they can fly to the moon, why are they faking the ISS? There's a live SSS feed. I can go and watch it, and I click on. I'm like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
And I'm expanding like beyond the imaginary curve. You look at the imaginary curve, right? And then you expand. The size surprised that it would be. With any of the images that are of the curve of the fisheye, and you extend, you're like, no. How is America taking up 90% of the frame?
Yeah.
I wouldn't make any sense, and it's consistent throughout all of it.
Yeah, it's amazing that, you know, with the fisheye lens, that so many people through the last few years that have posted images. Oh, look at this, is me in my parachute jump. You can see the curvature there, and you're looking and you're going, well, I can see a road there that's stretching the entire, you know, radius of this supposed ball earth. You know, I could get around that in my push bike in 2 hours.
Yep.
But it's just there with people. Even some, you know, I spoke to the couple the other day and suggested to the women, you know, it's because you think you should see a curve, you think it's there. When in reality, as you say, if you just suspend your belief, you know, and have a look at it, what am I actually looking at here? What is it I'm looking at? You know, you'll soon establish that, you know, for one, you're looking at cartoon rubbish and you look flat horizon.
And like, I just want that. I want the answer that, like, because I loved having that. I loved having the factoids. Like, I volunteered at a summer camp, like an atheist summer camp in the US, and they're totally off. Like, oh no, their phrase is beyond belief, right? And for years, I go in there and listening to everyone's different viewpoints, and it's like, but it's still beliefs. They're not using objective reality here. This is not direct realism. This is a book, and they're saying this happened. And I'm like, how can you trust this? And then go, oh, gravity. And it's like, well, what is gravity? And they can't explain what the gravity is. And it's like the guy you were just speaking to there. It's like, it's gravity. It's a vacuum. It's like, can you prove that? Well, how do you expect me to prove it? It's like, how do you expect me to believe it? You understand what science is.
It's no different for these people that you say, that these atheist camps who go to religious passion.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you can't prove you're God. You're making claims with God. You can't prove it. But I'm going to invoke magical, mystical forces that I don't need to prove.
Yeah.
I can claim it as science and take the high ground as if I'm some sort of enlightened being. They're not. They're just delusional as anybody else.
And the thing that hit me was, I'm not sure if you know Terence McKenna. Yeah. He would speak of the limits of instrumentality, that regardless of what we can see in the world, we are an instrument that we are limited by, and the thing that's recording it, like if a camera is 60 frames per second, so if something's moving faster than that, we can't record that it's moving faster than that. So we're always going to be limited by that. So I'm like, so what ruler are they using to measure the sun? How are they measuring the distance? That seems like really, really good technology. What technology is it? It's not mentioned anywhere.
So somebody's got a big, huge fucking measuring tape. With one of the buttons that you press and it retracts back.
Right. Like, trying to not catch it, it slices off your arm and that. All that stuff like Richard Branson, I remember in the 90s, it's like, oh, it's only 50 grand to go off and like fly to the moon. And I'm like, I mean, I don't think I'm going to have 50 grand in my life, but that's not too much. Like, that'd be nice if I could go and travel. And then you don't see anything about it. And then a few years later, you're hearing that they're sending all these ships off to Pluto. And then Pluto's not a planet. And I remember talking to my mum about it, and she died a few years ago, but she used to be a nursery teacher. And I would like talking to her, like, what do you teach the 3 and 4 year olds? And like, oh, there's 9 planets. I was like, there's not 9 planets. You're teaching them nonsense. There's only planets now. Pluto's not a planet. It's been denounced as a planet. And it's like, all right. And it didn't bother my mum. I'm like, you're a teacher, I should bother you. And it's like, well, that's what we've been taught. And I'm like, right, is that every single teacher I've ever had in school? And it's particularly as well, it's with the feminine, right? Especially in the primary school. It's predominantly women that teach primary school. So they work as the mother figure. So you get kids in there and they'll just believe what they're told, because if it was a man there, they would have that kind of like natural kind of like, oh, what you telling me, competitiveness. The women are saying it because the women believe it full-heartedly, not why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
They went to university, they got their masters.
Exactly. You're spot on there, and the children will want it more because they're nurturer, you know, that mother thing.
And then you look at like the roots of college and university and like where they came from and all these secret societies that started the colleges and university, and trying to have these discussions with people, like the notion of like I never went to graduation. I thought it was all fucking nonsense, but the whole mortarboard and things like that, and like you're like, what is this? This is all like maritime stuff. Why is it connected to maritime stuff? It's like, oh, because you get your degree, that's a step down, then you become a master and you can teach people what are below you. It's like, it doesn't matter what you're teaching. It matters that you've been taught, and you've never needed to go and look at anything. Like the same like doctors. Doctors don't need to know about nutrition, but people won't listen to me if I talk about nutrition because they're like, oh, what do you know? You're not a doctor. And it's like, but how healthy is your doctor? And it's like, it's the appeal to authority that happens over and over again. These people that preach about scientism, and I've got no issue with scientific method. It has its place. Rational, pragmatic breakdown of logical world natural rules that are self-similar across scale. As you said, you have the ball there, it never pulls water. What size does it get to? Oh, big. how fucking big? You mean Death Star size? Like, how big's your Death Star? It's like, oh, Death Star's fiction, though. It's like, okay, you don't seem to have an issue with fiction, though, until it has an author, and then you're like, oh, that's an issue. But it's just every single thing, they've got an answer to it, and then you ask them further, and they don't know.
No.
The phases of the moon.
They're not even giving answers, you know?
No.
I'm getting a horrible feedback.
Oh, from me?
No, I don't know.
Something else.
Is else experiencing that? Is it just me?
I can hear pretty. It's nasty feedback too, isn't it? It's high pitched.
Yeah, it's come through my end as well, dude. I think that's part of the network, not any of us.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone now.
But yeah, like the moon phases, that was one that always confused me, because as a kid, like 10-year-old kid or whatever, just looking at the moon and seeing the curve on the moon. And when I was younger, I used to think there was a planet in front of the moon, and I was like, what's that thing that goes across the moon? And it was like, people were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, how does it make the curve? I was like, well, that's just the phases of the moon. It's the sun is getting cut off by the earth. I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I would see the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time.
But they retracted that. It's changed. You know, it's no that the phases are caused by the earth getting in the road. It's the angle that the sun is shining on the moon. They claim. But even again at that, you can see it in certain days where they're directly across from each other and it's still in a half phase. Yeah. You know, although they're directly there opposite each other, you go, well, you know, what's happening there? Oh, bendy stuff, bendy lightness and magic. No, wait a minute. If I get physically an object here and a light source here, you know, I'm not recreating that fucking straight line shadow. What's going on?
Yeah. And when you're looking at when it's got a crescent moon and they're saying, oh, it's caused by the sun and like the angles of it, and then the sun goes down or the sun goes out of frame and it's pitch dark in the sky, and you're like, why is the moon fully lit still?
Yeah, well, I've raised that issue before. Even whatever phase it is, if the sun has been gone for hours, apparently the other side of this globe Earth, and the moon arrives low in my horizon, you know, it's coming in its phase where the light is not directly, you know, hitting the moon. You know, I mean, you can set it up and see that it's a physical impossibility.
And you can set exactly the same up with a model.
Yeah.
You have a light source and you put things in between it. Yeah. You've got your Carl Sagan and he shows you some kind of model and you're like, all right. But it seems like, to me, it's like it's a South Park joke or something. Like a picture just like you're pointing out in the sky and they're like, no, you're not getting it. And they walk you in and they bring you into the graph and they draw pictures. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're drawing pictures. Come back outside and look at the sun. What do you see there? And they're like, no, you're not understanding. It's giant. I'm like, do you see it as giant? It's like, my eyes, I can't use my eyes. Like, the humans are too limited to understand. It's like, well, if the humans are too limited to understand, why are we listening to humans about it?
Yeah.
It's still humans that are giving us the books. And so, did they understand something better? Do you not know Albert Einstein? Like, yeah. He's
welcome to Hogwarts.
Quickly. It doesn't matter what you believe, it matters that you believe it.
That's it.
But I've definitely seen like the whole like YouTube and like Facebook, these sock puppet accounts, and just how fast they are at working with it. And they've got all the conversations that are happening between them. And like, I don't know half of them, like, is it a robot? Is it a person? Is it like watching the video? And it's usually people that don't show their face as well. It'll just be cutting in. It'll be like, oh, so what we see here is like you've got the globe. And what is Albert Einstein? How did he know that 9/11 was an inside job? Like, what? And anyone watching it is like, this is nonsense, and they just turn it off. And any of the sidebar, like Eric DeBay, Jeranism, like Rob Skiba, yourself, Globely, people just turn off to it because it's all in amongst it.
Yeah.
The whole disinfo thing of like you give 70% disinfo and like 30% truth.
The 80-20, switch and bait. Yeah, and that's the problem. You know, that's why it's good when especially when the camera's off and I'm finished speaking to people, I'll try and say, you know, if you're going to look into this, you know, here's some places that you should go to and look, you know, and things to maybe avoid. And if you're determined to know, then hopefully they'll dig deeper than just, you know, some, you know, random video that's popped up in their feed. You know, you have to hope that they're going to have a bit of discernment about them.
Aye. That's why I feel like your approach is a really good approach for it. You take it from what shape is the horizon. They always say horizontal. What is sea level? Is it level? Yes. And the jump from that to the ball with the water on it can be a leap for some people. But it's those kind of things that you bring forward. Like, have you ever seen a satellite?
Yeah.
Well, no. And it's like, okay, there's 18,000 satellites. Why have you never seen one? It's like, oh, they're too high up. You can see stars that were told died out before you were born in crystal clarity. reality with your own eyes, without a telescope, you can see the moon crystal clear with no telescope. You can't see something the size of a school bus that exists 18,000-fold floating around the Earth. Never landed on Earth, never crashed into anything. I've never been in a plane and seen one.
Well, there has been ones that have crashed that have been attached to balloons.
Right.
And that's the other point. You never see anything passing between us and the moon.
Yeah, you don't see anything between us and the moon. You don't see the moon pulling things in. Like the moon doesn't, in its space garbage, doesn't get pulled into the gravitational force of the moon.
No.
The moon doesn't spin in an orbit like we do to the sun. Why not?
Yeah.
How are we stronger to the moon than the sun is to us?
It's nonsense, mate. It's total nonsense. It's just full of contradictions.
Yeah,
you know?
But it's amazing how fast people will run on the treadmill when you ask them. They start coming out with answers that they've never heard before. But they're like, oh no, that's not how it works. And they're like, why are you making excuses for it in between? And understand why they're doing it, because the cognitive dissonance is too much and they're just like emotionally shutting down with it.
Yeah.
And there are some people I'll step back from. I had one friend, he's like, when I was out in Thailand, and I thought he'd be open to it because he's open to a lot of things. And I started bringing down, and he's very, very scientific. And he's like, I think you've went really, really far down the rabbit hole. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and I don't think it goes that far. It was like, he got it. He got that I was that far down. It's like, but the rabbit hole does exist. It's just that you're not going down there. And I could see that he didn't want to go down there. It's like, this hurts too much. This contradicts too many of my other beliefs.
Yeah, that's it.
When it starts coming into the notion that creator and like a divine existence and we have a spirit, if someone's not been living that life, if someone's been like doing things they maybe shouldn't have been doing, because like, oh, it doesn't matter. You're like, oh no, you've been lied to, and it's like, it's not your fault. Like we're all fooled by this. It's not a case that we think we're smart as kids and we're like, oh, we knew better and we know better and we're so smart. And it's like, no, we're duped. We just didn't pay attention to it, and now we're looking at it. What do we do with it?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You know, people are so invested. Again, you know, as I said earlier, but you highlighted it in yourself. You know, you catch yourself on and go, why am I defending this belief? You know, let me just look at it and, you know, remove that belief for a wee minute and just try and look at things objectively from an empty space.
Yeah.
So some people just don't want to go there. They're so desperate. They need to cling to that certainty. They have to be sure, and you know, they've committed to it, and it can be frightening for them to have that shaking from under them. Yeah,
I feel easier with the shaking under though than the resistance you get when someone like has already written you off. I've like had a few friends that I've mentioned such things to, like sent them like Facebook messages being like, you should check into this, man, it's dead interesting. And then I'll meet up with them and I'll be talking to them about it, and I'll see the way they'll look over to like their other friend, like, this is the fucking nonsense I was talking about, man. And I can see it in their face, but they're just like trying to hold like, yeah, so what are you saying? I'm like, you're taking the piss out of me, man. Like, I wouldn't do that. If you come and told me that 4 moons exist and you've seen them, I wouldn't be taking the piss at you. Yeah. I'd be like, well, what's your evidence? What you should bring it forward. But they're like, nah. And especially like I went from being like teetotal, no drinks, no drugs, to cannabis completely changed my life. And I'm like, all right, I'm wrong about so many things. And then after a few years of that, I took magic mushrooms and I took LSD, and I'm like, wow, right. And then the friends who I went to after that, they're like, no, you're coming up with this nonsense because of psychedelics. And it's like, no, I can see the truth because of psychedelics. I was only able to believe lies because I was in so much pain and suffering. I didn't know what I was tolerating.
Yeah. Well, good on you, man. You know, that's the difference. It's having the ability to, you know, break out of things that you've taken for granted. And again, people are subject to mantras and, you know, cultural programming, and they're responding from these things. And they don't even realise they are responding from them. You know,
it feels like it's just so true. It's just so true. I even looked at a video I put on YouTube maybe about 6 years ago, and it's like, should creationism be taught in schools? And I'm like, well, if creationism is taught in schools, like they should also teach like Middle Earth, the Battle of Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings alongside like World War II. They should be teaching alongside the fact that we go around the sun, that the sun travels around us. They should be teaching alongside that the Earth is flat. You know, it's nonsense. And but if someone shows me evidence for it, I'll like, we're still always backed up at the end of it. But I'm like, but what they're proposing at the moment is nonsense.
Yeah.
But just from my viewpoint.
Yeah, that's it.
I would have been insufferable if I was having a conversation with myself 10 years ago. Oh, no chance.
But that's the beauty. When you open yourself up, you get yourself into it, you get into that rabbit hole, and then through time you have a chance to reflect through different experience and different understanding. When you look back at yourself, as I say, you know, even my mate Marty, we spoke about that before, and he's talking about previous YouTube comments that he's put up from years gone by, and saying things to people, oh, you're daft, Nick should be telling me the earth's flat and blah, blah, blah. and then laughing at yourself because when you're at that place, you've just assumed and taken it for granted that you know what you're talking about and you have certainty, and then you realise through, as I say, contemplation that you had it wrong. But that's the beauty. That's how you move forward rather than boxing yourself in.
And it's like I'm not sure. Is it Merrill?
Yeah.
Or you said like what was it that kind of like no, maybe not, it wasn't you, I'm not sure. I say like, where did you get the information from that kind of like suggested all these things? And it's parodied so much and everything. It's like the earth is flat, that's silly, you fall off the edge, and Albert Einstein, he's genius, you're a regular Einstein. Rocket science, like, you're some kind of what, like Shania Twain, so what, you're a rocket scientist. That don't impress me much. It's like, well, what's that meaning? Like, what are you meaning? Like, why is he so clever? E equals MC squared. Yeah. So I can't understand that. Yeah.
Just buzzwords and mantras. Yeah. Part of the cult programming. Empty words and mantras.
Yeah. And you see like the Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a frustrating one to watch. And the drop in the microphone, it's like, whoa. And it's like, can you not see that you're like praising false gods here? Like, this is exactly the thing you're like preaching against, saying, dogma is such an issue, ideologies are such an issue. It's like, only it disagrees with your ideology.
Yeah, again, that's what I keep saying. These people who have come about in the last 20, 30 years, they talk about these things, and you hear them saying science is not to be cherry picked, and blah, blah, blah. You go, well, you're a fucking cherry picker, and you're using pseudoscience, sophism, red herrings, every fucking logical fallacy in the book.
Yeah.
These characters are employing it, but because they've been lauded and put up there as in public as geniuses and scientific minds who are advancing us, and people look by these contradictions.
Yeah, especially when it's like, I would say Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's a little bit easier to pull it apart, but someone like Elon Musk, it's done really well with him. And they're just like taken out of nowhere, and then they appear and they're doing guest spots in The Simpsons, and they're there, they're in the culture, and you're like, everyone's in on it. Is that what you're saying? It's like, at those levels, yes. Yeah. You don't end up getting to the position that Elon Musk's in without like a few strings attached. Yeah. And people are like, no, but electric cars. I'm like, all for it. It's like, electricity and like free power for people, and
PayPal.
What was that?
PayPal.
The accredited him with PayPal, wasn't it? It was,
right, I didn't know that.
Apparently he was the creator of PayPal.
The brainchild, yeah. But you can just do anything like retrospectively, and everyone's like, that's amazing. But if you're doing enough things that are really good, if he can be like, I can feed 90% of the planet by 2020, people are like, wow, he cares about the planet. And even if he could do that, if it's lumped in with, give us your money and I'll send you to Mars by 2030, Google Mars now, like Google Earth. You can go look at Google Mars. Yeah. I'm supposed to believe that, but you can't land on the moon. You've not landed on the moon since 1970. But even you're going to a planet that when I look through a telescope, it's a light. Yeah,
remote controlled robots millions of miles away, but we can't sort half the shit out down here. We can't get signals in certain valleys or up certain mountains, but no, we'll control this robot up there on Mars and send you some nice pictures.
And like GPS signal, that's when it got me as well. If you had a phone and there were satellites that were controlling the signal, if you lost your signal anywhere, you could just stand still and you'd eventually get a signal at some point. Yeah. It'd be hard not to, especially if you're up a hill or something like that. But nah, and I say it to people, I was like, do you know you have a sweet spot in your house where you, like, if you can't get signal and you put your phone like on a window ledge or something, you get signal? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, how would that work if the satellites were moving? Yeah. And they wrap it over for a bit and they're like, no, and they explain it and they go, right, see satellite television? It's like, yeah. And it's like, see every single satellite dish. When you walk down a street, there's one side of the houses that don't have any satellite dishes, and the other side, every single one is pointing in the same direction. Yeah. So why is that? Because it's land-based. Not, but it needs to be land-based. Like, it goes to there and then it travels to, it's like, why would it need to travel up? You keep making this like that would be the most logical thing. Comes later. Cut it down. Yeah. It's simple.
Well, that's it. I mean, even like in old books, that old book I found about flying and how aeroplanes work, and it's from 1936. And they talk about triangulation and how they got, messages to the pilots and how pilots get messages to the control board. Yeah. And they've just extrapolated and expanded upon, they things and sold people this bollocks about it going up into outer space and sending a message back. Fucking total crap.
And it ties in so well with the whole science fiction of it. Like the whole, like, the notion of the hero's journey is something that I think it really plays off as well, that I think people have resistance to. When they hear like outer space doesn't exist, and as a term before 1850 it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then their whole like, kind of notion that they could one day be like James T. Kirk or Luke Skywalker. No, I can't be that. And it's like, sorry, you can every single shot you've seen in Star Wars was shot on Earth. And they're like, yeah, but it's emulating, like there's an ice planet and there's a lava planet and there's a no, these are all things that are already in the Earth. They're just showing you all again. Like George Lucas understood that. Steven Spielberg understood that. Like Roddenberry understood that. It's like Roddenberry, you go and you show people the things that are already in Earth. It excites them as adventurers, especially men. It excites them as adventurers. They want to go out and do the hero's journey. They want to go and like deal with their shadow work. But you've given them such a story that is connected to outer space that they think they need to go into outer space. And it's like, no, you can be doing it here on Earth.
Yeah,
That's it.
An audience member.
Take Skywalker. You are Luke Earthwalker.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're a shaman. You're a shaman.
You are a Jedi.
Yeah.
You are a Jedi.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Just trust it now. Trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's much more exciting and tangible that the prospect that it's here and that we can go laterally and maybe discover some of these things, you know. So we can still have some of the, you know, like I remember Star Wars, we had these bikes that fucking levitated and you could use them. We can still have that and we can go that way and see what the fuck we find. You know, there might be Ewoks and fucking Chewbacca's out there for all you know.
And it's brilliant. And it's tangible. It's the same stuff like under the sea that we're speaking about. Oh, I can't wait to go and find like intelligent life out there. It's like, fuck off. There's intelligent life on the planet you don't care about.
Yeah.
What? You don't care about dolphins, you don't care about whales, you don't care about octopus, but you want to give all your money to NASA so they can go and travel to potentially find a piece of dog shit somewhere that has like bacteria in it that's going to, that could turn into an intelligent life form in 50 million years. It's like, go and have a conversation with a dog. Go and sit with a cat for a bit. They're intelligent beings.
That's it.
Just disconnected going, no, we need to go elsewhere. And it's like, you don't need to go elsewhere. If you find intelligent beings, you wouldn't know what to do with it. Because you currently don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's all part of the mind control. Having us looking away from the centre, having us looking away from here.
Yeah. The truth is out there.
That's
like,
it.
no, everything's inside. It's all internal. Everything we're seeing on the outside, it's an internal projection. And that's all right. We can work from that. I used to be against the notion like objective truth. No, it's all subjective. And like, it is subjective. They're not two mutually exclusive ideas. There's objective truth that we're experiencing subjectively.
Yeah.
And that can be really tricky to kind of get our holds of.
Yeah, that's what was talking to Meryl about the other day in private, and it's quite a big one, I think, you know, maybe just to reiterate it, I'll maybe do a vlog on it. The separation from subjective and objective and what it actually means, you know, because I don't think people really fully understand it.
Definitely not. And like what Alfred North Whitehead referred to as the fallacy of misplaced concreteness, that when you see a table and you say that's a table, and it's like, but that's not a table. You've added something from your understanding as an attribute that has four legs, that has a surface, that is now a table. Yeah. There's no end to that table. It was a table before it was a table, it was a table after it's destroyed. A tree, there's no end to the tree. You've got the seed that grows, it's a tree. If you cut that tree down and say it's a tree, and it's like, but where are the roots? It's like, oh no, but it's still a tree. And it's like, you're cutting things off in order to make it that end point, and that's okay. It's a very patriarchal thing to do. It's the masculine logical, let's make it dualistic. And you go, yeah, things are black and white, but they're also not black and white. Yeah. They're not dualistic and dualistic simultaneously. Yeah. And that can be too much for someone to take on. They're like, no, it can't be. There's a winner and there's a loser. And it's like, there's only a winner loser if you want to lose. If you want to, I'm a conservative, I'm a liberal. It's like, wow, you've been bought. You've been bought and sold. And you sit there thinking that Bernie Sanders, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, is going to come in and save you. Like, it's like, no, you're hook, line and sinker. And I was definitely there before. I thought people could do it and these parties could do it. And it's like, why would Bernie Sanders have ties to Israel? It's like, because he doesn't see himself as an American citizen. You know, those kind of things. You're like, right. It ties to other things. And we just see it. No, someone's patriotic. And it's like, no, they're making us patriotic. Yeah. They don't need to be patriotic. They're laughing about it. All the government's in cahoots. We're safe. They're just telling us loads of lies to make us fearful. Yeah. Exactly the same stuff they're doing in Egypt. Exactly the same stuff they're doing in Rome. Just mind control. Exactly. Like the Orwell, give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt.
Exactly.
Satiate the stomach, something to satiate the eyes. And they're like, it's brilliant. You're like, it's not true. You understand this? And they're like, what do you mean it's not true? It's like, open the eyes, step out the circus, stop eating the food, and you see the whole game that's going on. And as you said earlier, it's a game. It's all a game. And if you're not a player, if you've not taken autonomy and say, I am going to do this, this is what I have as free will. And people go, we don't have free will. And it's like, if you say you don't have free will, you don't have free will.
Yeah. Everybody's
You can't do it.
yeah, they're all setting the rules up for their own games, you know.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's the war for your attention. That's what it comes down to, you know.
And we're quite happy to focus our attention on anything, like just especially it's. I heard the breakdown of like urgency, importance, and impactful. You don't want to pay attention to the things that are urgent and important. You want to notice the impactful, because there's always going to be urgent, important things that like you think like, oh, what's urgent, and important is me going to work, and then you take a day off work or you take a day off from studying at a university or something like that. You think you're missing so much. You think something's not going to work because you're not there, and it gives you a whole day to think about the fact that you're not there and other things in the world. And you're like, I didn't need to be there, and I thought it was so urgent for me to do that. What is urgent for me is to go to work, and then like a family member dies, and you're like, no, what would have been impactful is if I'd actually connected with my family members, but I was too busy thinking that I had to keep this game going for other people's benefit.
Yeah.
And it's that fear matrix, and I know it turns people off a lot, but the Matrix is a really, really good like film and idea in order for parallels onto it. But people are like, oh no, I know what you're meaning, the artificial reality and that, and NASA are saying that we're a simulation. It's like, no, don't jump to that. Jump to your own understanding of it. And it is that no one knows what the Matrix is. They have to see it for themselves. And like you hear that and it sounds dead cool, and it sounds like, oh, it's a shaman saying that. It sounds like Yoda talk. It is. You need to see it for yourself, and you need to believe it. No one's going to convince us. No one convinced us of this.
No.
We just seen it. We opened our eyes and went, what do I do now? What do I do? Everyone's going to think I'm bonkers. So you want to start getting all the evidence to try and prove it to people. And then it's too much because you're asking them to watch like 9 hours or like a 2-hour video, 200 proofs to the Earth's not a spinning globe. And that's still one I link to people because it's one that sticks in my head. Yeah. But even with that, like if someone's watching Eric Dubé, and I think a lot of his stuff's great, but even the tone of the things he's saying sometimes is enough to turn someone off. Because they're like, I don't want to be, it's like a bit condescending for people maybe. That they're like, that's mean, don't be mean to me. And it's like, kind of, yes. It's like, but I understand where people are with it. They're really frustrated at the fact that they're still believing all the lies, like globe tards and whatnot. And
it's hard not to get sarcastic and, but that's the beauty. That's why I say, I always say that. Yeah, that's why it's important to have so many different people involved, because somebody, as you say, might be turned off by that guy because he's got a certain tone of voice. They'll be turned off from me because they don't understand my dialect. They don't like my mannerisms, but then they'll like Meryl, they'll like you, that's what I say, if people are there, they have to just step up to the table and be them and be true to who you are, and you'll resonate with somebody else who that I have never resonated with.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. You need all these different personalities.
And that's one of the reasons that I like, is it John Smith that does the globe lie? I like the fact it's globe lie. Yeah. It's not, because the flat earth, as soon as it has the flat earth, you're like, you're a flat earther, and it's like, people don't realise that it's a prejudice, and people have an issue with that, going, oh, it's not a prejudice like being anti-Semitic or being like racist, and it's like, it may not be the same prejudice, but it's still a prejudice. What you're doing is you're hearing a few things that you want to be able to project onto a whole group of opposed people. They've not stated that they're flat earthers. Yeah. Like, we are not living in a spinning globe, and someone reads that and go, oh, I've heard flat earth theory before. It's like, I didn't mention flat earth. Yeah,
that's it.
Shout out against it.
Yeah, it's the mantras that have been put out there, the triggers for people, and they just jump to an assumption. In hindsight, for me, I've spoken about that before, I would be focusing it as, look, just focus on the globe's a lie, blah, blah. But unfortunately, it's been put out there, and that's what's trending. The term flat earth was trending. Yeah. So that's why I always reiterate to people, look, I define what that means, because flat earth is not an established thing. We don't know the full dimensions. So for anybody to be straw man, lumping you in with a straw man, then it's a fallacy in their part. Yeah. So I always reiterate that when I say flat earth, it's me that defines it. You ask me what I mean by flat earth. You don't get to assume and attach a label and generalise. You have to be strong on that and always point it out to people, because they're so loaded, as you say, with these reactions and these nonsense ideas. I've started asking people that recently. When I say flat earth, what comes to mind? Just to highlight, we'll say, edges, or boats will go there, and then I can say to them, well, where is that coming from? That's implanted in there. You're taking that as a mantra, and then you're throwing it out there as a belief in what flat earth actually means, when it's not what it means to me.
Yeah. And it is mostly that, like that cartoon image they have, the boats going over the edge or whatever. And it's like, I didn't say anything about an edge.
Yeah.
They want to visualize something. And as you said earlier, people want the answer. They're like, well, if we don't live on this, what do we live on? And it's like, don't know. So what's why you are like, you need to show me an alternative model. And it's like, we're trying to show you an alternative model, but I've not got $50 million a day. If I did, if we had $50 million amongst the entire community, even difficult to say in community, people question it, it would be game over. Like, it would just close down. They wouldn't be able to do it. And I don't know what they're going to do, because this isn't going away, and it's not going to be able to be stopped. So they're going to make some flip. They're going to make some flip of, like the Mandela effect or something like that. And they're going to say, well, somehow someone changed, the CERN changed the history. They changed the physical dimensions of our computer simulation. And now we do live in a flat earth. But all those flat earthers before were idiots. But now it's not a theory. Now we've proved it. And it's like, and they just start giving $50 million to the new like NASA program. It's like traveling through space dimensions for new programs of computer generated worlds. And you're like, oh, come on, people. It's the same problem.
But that's an assumption too, because what if it is a game? Like, take it seriously for a second.
Yeah, like, so what do you mean?
So what if the game of life, right?
Yeah.
Is about waking up?
That's what I felt, and I've had that kind of question as well. Like, is this level 1? Does it go on to like level 60? And level 1 is the fact that you learn this. And
there's a good chance it might be endless.
Yeah.
So that's what stops people in their track.
Yeah.
Because they're new thoughts. Their thought. That's a new thought that comes in, and you're like, where has that thought been my whole life?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. But even if they're believing it's like endless at the moment, like they're going like, our space is infinite, they don't feel it applies to anything that they're doing in their life. But like in the beginning, there was the word, like all thoughts and all speech is vibration, and we are creators. So are we the thing that's creating like beyond the ice wall or whatever? If there's an ice wall, that's what I've been told. If it goes beyond the ice wall, is it infinite land? And is there something that we can do as spirits, as beings, that can create more things? And this is one of the reasons that it's so easy to then, we're looking at all like these like Carl Sagan and Buzz Aldrin, and we're like, how can you do that? How can you sell out all these people on Earth? And it's like, because they've got exactly the same ability to wake up as well, and they've not done it. And if they do it, they may go on, and they're given like, okay, if you go on Joe Rogan, and if you lie to people about this, you're going to get a spaceship, or not a spaceship, like a plane that can travel beyond the edges of the firmament or beyond the ice wall, and you can go and create worlds with your imagination. That could be true. I've got no idea. We don't know what's happening in their mindsets. We just know that in our heads, like, oh, they've sold us out because we've got this idea that they need to sell us in. Like, they need to be in the same level as us. Like, they don't. And it's okay. Like, I don't hold anything against, like, Joe Rogan for being in the position he's in.
No, that's
he's in a serious position.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like...
He's chosen that as well, eh? Like, with conscious mind, he's chosen the path he's on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Joe. Joe's got to act for himself.
Yeah.
Just mind your own business, you know. And, you know, everybody has the right to exist as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And it's not about shutting down or controlling any other party. Just about understanding and, you know, learning the rules and the tools that we have, you know.
Yeah. And it's not illegal to lie to someone.
Yeah.
No, that's like, it might not be nice, but it's like, I'm not sure if you know Jordan Peterson. He has about that kind of like the notion of like safe spaces and that at like universities. It's like, this isn't a safe space. This is where you're coming in order to have your belief systems ripped apart. You rebuild them yourself. It doesn't exist like that. So the idea that like news is out there and it's like, but they're supposed to tell me the truth. The judge is supposed to be there in order to uphold justice and make sure that I'm safe. And it's like, that's your belief. Yeah. And that's okay that you believe that. It make you a little bit safer when you sit at night and watch your telly, but no, it's not happening.
That's it.
That's cool.
That's it. But
I do wonder, like, with the likes of like Joe Rogan and like his friend Eddie Bravo, when I see any Eddie Bravo on his show, and man, it's almost like I worry for Eddie Bravo, you know, like when someone's coming out there and he doesn't see, from what I can gather, like what Joe's like kind of like connected to with those things. So he's quite happy just like open up with such things, and you worry about people in those positions. You're like, are they just going to be off? Are they just going to like take them away? But again,
it's a setup. Bro.
You think it's a setup?
It is.
Yeah.
I know it.
That's what I felt with that whole episode. because he was just acting like somebody who's, oh, feedback's horrific here. He was just acting like somebody doesn't really understand the subject. He was misrepresenting it, never done it any justice, and it was so easy for them to just sit and tear apart. And looking at it, I was looking like, Joe Rogan's got this, authority over Eddie Bravo because he's just shutting him down, and Eddie's not got the logical ability. He just, talk back to him and put him in his place. He's just kind of letting it happen and sliding into the backdrop. So for me, it seemed a wee bit staged, or regardless of whether it was staged or not, it never served it any justice whatsoever.
I can certainly see like the elements of that where it's like you really do. You want someone who's got a knowledge of it and has like researched at the point of it, and it didn't seem like it went too far. But it still, to me, he was genuine, but it didn't really have a good standing of the subject enough to kind of like push back against it.
Yeah.
I mean, like him and someone else as well, like the other guy on the show, and the amount of guests that have been on since then with Joe Rogan, and it's just like, oh, it's nonsense. It's not even like the stuff that we bought into the heliocentric model.
No,
it's like complete rip apart, and it's not using science. It's not using like logical fallacies. It's
it's like they mention it. We'll give Eddie a wee bit of a ribbon, and then every guest after that's going to be somebody who's on this camp, and they're just going to keep pushing this narrative and ridicule and use all the same tactics.
Enough rope to hang yourself with.
But it's not working, as you say. This is not going away. And the sooner these clowns realise that, the better. So, listen, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's getting on 10 to 11 here. I'm starting to fade a wee bit. But
Thanks as always.
Cool,
nice.
Wonderful.
Good on you, mate. Yeah.
It's nice meeting you, Carol.
Steer true. Yeah.
Shall do.
Yeah. Cheers, Ed. It's a pleasure, mate. Anytime, man. You can pick this back up anytime you like. You can come back on.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Marshall. Thanks, everyone.
Take it easy.
Take care.
Take it easy, guys. Right. I'm just going to go to the chat. In fact, if I get some messages here, I need to read quick. Dell, I sent you a card concept, nocurve@gmx.com some time ago, which can be personalised. If you haven't seen it, let me know and I'll resend it. Cheers, Andy. I think that will be there, Andy. We'll have a look at it and I'll put it to use. So cheers for the efforts, man. How are we in the chat box?
I've had a nice run of Globist commentators. I've had a run through the chat this evening, and I've let them go because they're stringing themselves up.
Cool. Well, that's it. I mean, I just don't think they're getting that people see right through it, but they're typical fanatical behaviour. They'll just keep bashing their skull off the wall, hoping that they can convert you into their fucking culty, derpy religion. The sooner they get it into their thick skull, that it's not going away. We don't want to be part of your religious cult anymore. The better, right? Stop wasting time. We're dealing with objective truth. We're dealing with natural science. There's no need for any used clowns out there to come and try and convince us to go your religious route. Right? We'll establish what the actual objective truth is once you stop wasting everybody's time, and we get this into the wider arena and get it dealt with once and for all. So let them go, as you say, mate. They'll just keep stringing themselves up. All they're doing is reaffirming and showing us how fragile and hollow this whole globe religion actually is. So how are we in chat, people? I'm going to spend 5 minutes here and see how he's off. Freddie, once you learn to speak English, it will be awesome. Joke. Lol. Hi, I sent an email to No Curve. Can someone make sure that Dale and John read it, please? That's from Hi. I'll certainly check that out. Lenny Frat Earth, Christina, keep thinking of circus ideas. Jonah Worms. Cheers, Dale. Great panel tonight and good job, mods. Chris Hayes. Cheers, Chris. Uppercut, I don't want to leave though. Well, it gets difficult one, and I've smoked a wee doobie now. My concentration and energy level starts to get down. So what are we on? 10 to 11, that's 3.5 hours. Not bad. Jamie Brown, I'll be live in a minute. YouTube. People check Jamie Brown out. YouTube, Dale, we are at a point with heliocentric believers telling us we should lower our standards to their level, not needing real evidence, where circumstantial evidence is good enough. Astonishing. Yep. Well, it's establishing that, how fragile it is and how much, if you look at any religion or any cult, you can see the similarities. It's like a mirror. Ashamed to be a flat earther. The earth doesn't care about your beliefs. You're right. Objective reality does not care about anybody's beliefs. It is what it is. West Coast Wisdom, great chat with Edward. Cheers, John. Bradley, great night, great truth, great guys. Thank you very much, Bradley. Rain of Fire, you're the big one. Jen Morris, in defence of conditioning and programming, it offers security for many as they can't bear to trust themselves. Yeah, I totally get that, and I totally agree with you. I've said before, people just need to cling to certainty. Everybody not everybody, the majority of people are looking for a comfort blanket. And there's many comfort blankets out there. Red Machine Kieran, thanks very much, man. Oops, jumped. Apologies if I'm missing anybody here. Twitwick, keep it flat, Dale. Cheers. Chilster Deluxe. Here time flies when having fun. Graham Ears, it's just I get bored talking to ballers all week. Just laugh at them then. Drop seeds in by ripping the piss. Cheers, William Kareen. Grasshopper, I certainly am. Rock Vibrations, cheers. Nope, jumped again. Lenny Fryer, Casuna, Beyond the Misery Curve. Thank you, Dale. If you go to the conference with Pac-Man Nesbitt, please try to film it. Well, if I go, I will be. I'll be filming every aspect that I'm involved in with anything. Shit, jumped again. Colonel Dale, you're a legend. Keep doing what you're doing, spreading the word. Rick Vats, big respect there as always. Keep doing your thing. We'll always tune in on a Saturday, regardless of where on the plane I am. Nice one, Rick Vats. Right, everybody, appreciated. Thanks very much to everybody who came on tonight and everybody who called in and messaged. Thanks to everybody who's taking part in the chat and watching. Much appreciated. Keep at them, people. Take it easy. We'll see you through the week. There'll be some uploads of interviews and hopefully we'll be getting together through the week for a chat with Gav and whoever else is going to be about. So, Magumba, Jonah Worms, Marshall, as always, much appreciated. Take it easy. Cheers, people.